You have so many updates queued. You gotta.
Yeah, because I was on Thanksgiving break. No, 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 no. Okay. I was trying to get the mouse onto the correct monitor, but it ended up skipping the entire thing, so I'm just gonna let it.
Starting over.
Yep.
I'm realizing that the stream lag is gonna be so much worse for me when I don't know the game than it is when I do.
That's fair, actually.
It's okay. It seems like it was already supposed to be a slideshow.
Yeah, it basically is.
Those are barrels.
They are indeed.
It's very hard to see with or without the stream lag. So I'm not missing too much. Misericorde, Volume 1.
Oop. Alright, so I'm gonna refresh my YouTube page and try to tune into the stream a bit to make sure everything's okay before we start.
Makes sense to me.
Mute the stream so it doesn't go through everything. I think that's pretty good. Alright. Hey guys, welcome to Misericorde. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yippee!
And
that's alright.
I have played Volume 1 of this game. There are currently 2 volumes out, and there is an expected 3. Who the heck are you? Sorry, that caught me off guard.
Who the heck is who?
I just got a chat that said good luck from Game Lover, but I think it's a bot. I'm not sure. So
we love games here.
I'm not entirely sure. I can't tell. The HH4JO at the end of the username makes me think it's a bot.
Yeah.
But I have played all
of
Volume 1. What kind of
loser would have 4 numbers at the end of their username?
There's only one number.
It's 4 digits.
HH4JO. I don't know. It was, yeah, oh well. Regardless, I have played all of Volume 1. I have not seen any of Volume 2. Leo has not seen anything That was loud. We do love games. Also, I don't know why it added all that. Are you supposed to be Air King? Or what's going on? I'm so confused by this.
Me think there's an imposter among us. Your stream isn't even showing up in my YouTubes.
Oh no. Great. Don't tell me that.
Ah, there it is.
Okay, good. It's showing up in mine.
Yeah. Well, if we had other people in it, I knew it wasn't private.
Yeah,
I was just wondering why I couldn't see it. I'm refreshing multiple times.
So, yeah, let's just get into it. I don't know what I'm doing. I have played...
I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick before you start, and then we will get into it.
Never mind, we're not getting into it yet. But I have played Volume 1 of this game. My friend Leo has not played any of this game. I do not know what happens in Volume 2, and Volume 3 is not out yet as the current recording. And I have tried to assign certain things to this casting wise, but I'm not entirely sure what the future volumes will hold. I've tried to make it as even as possible. I will be taking the protagonist and a couple minor characters. Leo will be taking everyone else basically. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy it.
Alright, I'm back. I know you gave all the people the spoilers.
Yeah, I told them everything about the game I haven't finished yet. I told them the ending.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, I'm the only one who's allowed to be blind.
For Volume 1 at least. Alright.
Yeah.
Let's start.
It was very brave of you to pick a game that you hadn't finished.
I am just really enjoying the game so far, and I did not want to finish Volume 2 because Volume 3 wasn't out yet, but now I'm kind of okay with it because I'm just streaming it with a friend and introducing you to it. I don't know.
Makes sense to me.
Alright, let's get started.
Yeah.
Misericorde.
I'm the blind one.
A ledge projecting from the underside of a hinged seat in the choir stall, which, when cast to the seat and turned up, gives support for someone standing. A special room in a monastery in which someone... and the other one was a dagger. This story is set in the monastery in the 1400s. Characters will say, do, and believe unpleasant things. Violence, xenophobia, racism, sexism, and other serious topics are parts of the story. There is your warning for anyone not okay with those kind of things. It was a summer's night. It was a dreadful summer's night. The sun had set several hours ago, but the air was still heavy and wet. Too cold to go without a shawl, too warm to feel comfortable in one. Such are English summers. Their temperatures never rise above those in faraway lands, but they manage to be uncomfortable all the same. Even this stately home was not free from discomfort. Some might say, if you complained about the stuffiness within earshot, that this is what makes the English such a fair country. Even the seasonal annoyances God granted us are unique. At any rate, it was certainly too muggy to be wearing a heavy cloak, yet a man on horseback had appeared, thick cloth drawn tightly around his shoulders and face, on the road to the estate. He brought his horse from a gallop to a saunter as soon as he saw candlelight in the window ahead. Coming to a stop, he tied his horse to a post and hurried to the front door of the estate to request entry. The servant called out to the man from behind the door he was pounding upon. "Go away! By God, go away!" "This is you."
Is the master of the house home? It is absolutely imperative I speak with him.
"I could not answer that even if I desired, sir. I must ask you to leave, lest I send a rider to call for the guard."
I can see candlelight in his window. I know the master is home.
Even if he was, this is absolutely criminal time to be making house calls, sir. I must ask you again, politely, for you to leave.
Tell him a friend is outside waiting for him. A very good friend, indeed.
Sir. Whispers could be heard behind the door. The servant had been approached by someone else inside the house, and they were conferring in hushed tones. After a moment, the door was unlatched and swung open to invite the cloaked man inside. The young page was standing just beyond the threshold. He looked concerned. He held a little candle in one hand that flickered in the nighttime breeze. A tall man in expensive clothes stood behind him. The candlelight illuminated his beard and hair is silver. As the cloaked man made his way inside, he pressed a coin into the page's hand.
Thank you very much.
"Oh, well, thank you, sir. I must beg forgiveness for any offenses I caused. I must apologize for my staff. If you had sent a letter ahead..."
No. Yeah, the stream is kind of glitching out for me in particular, but the YouTube stream seems fine.
Right.
I'm gonna do the best with what I can. No. It was no trouble at all. I've sent you a video. It is wise to be paranoid, especially this late. I am the one who must apologize for arriving at such an unseemly hour. Do you see the problem?
I am watching it right now. Oh. Why is it... Okay.
For the stream, or the people watching the stream, it keeps flashing the title screen up, and in the middle of one of my lines it popped up for like 5 whole seconds, and I was just like, what is happening? But it was just flickering, it was fine.
Oh jeez. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. It's fine, it adds the ambiance. The ambience. Anyways. But I do have something of utmost urgency to discuss.
Of course. My private parlor is upstairs. Should I bring refreshments? No. That will not be necessary. Off to bed with you. The servant bowed and scurried out of the foyer. The two men took to the stairs wordlessly, a tall gentleman leading the way to his parlor. The visitor followed, his face still obscured by his cloak's loose hood. Once they reached the parlor, the master of the house walked around the room lighting candles, before taking a plush seat behind the large wooden desk. He indicated for his guest to sit in the wooden chair in front of him. Instead, the man removed his disguise and sat on one of the more expensive cushioned seats littered about the room. His host eyed the man's muddy riding boots, but said nothing. Beneath the cloak, this mysterious rider was quite handsome. He had sharp features and long silken hair. He was quite a bit shorter than the master of the house, but he carried himself in such a confident manner that it did not matter. He dressed modestly for travel, but wore a jewelry's box worth of rings on his fingers. The taller gentleman drummed his own equally ostentatious rings on his desk, inviting his visitor to speak first.
Is that me?
Yes.
Alright. I should have sent a letter.
Answer for the servant's benefit. I am well aware letters would be inadvisable in our matters, as would traveling in the dead of night alone just to speak with confidants.
You haven't sent any letters, have you? Or written anything down?
As I said, merely banter. I am no fool.
Good.
The long-haired man appeared satisfied and leaned forward in the chair with a smirk.
Not that anything we have discussed is untoward.
Never.
But it pays to be cautious.
You are quite correct.
Must you agree with everything I say in this manner?
As long as you say things that are agreeable, I'm afraid I have no choice. The younger man pulled his smirk even further around his thin face.
If my line is supposed to be read right now, I'm just staring at the title screen. Oh, there we go, we're back. To business, then?
Indeed.
I bring ill tidings, I am afraid. The heroic capture of Berwick early on in the proceedings aside, oh wait, that's the same line. The Scottish campaign is going quite terribly, but the king is still alive. Not that I expected him to dare lead a siege himself. He bears no wounds aside from his bride.
Were you hoping a stray arrow might catch him on horseback?
I've said nothing of the sort.
I would not worry. I can tell you with confidence that this excursion into Scotland has been as disastrous at home as it has been abroad. The general sentiment in the court has become somewhat mutinous.
That is good news. Although, sentiment means very little until it inspires action.
I would not be surprised if action is taken eventually.
Eventually?
Eventually. Sooner rather than later. That would be my honest bet. The king's habits make him a plush target. I dare say nature might take its course before any one plot comes together.
Plot? How very interesting. Have you caught wind of any good ones?
No, but there is a wide window of opportunity for others to act. I would quite comfortably place money on the king's passing in months. The younger man nodded. His wily smirk disappeared as he furrowed his brow, deep in thought.
We are leaving a lot up to luck. Our hands stay clean, but I am not sure I trust chance with the future of this country.
Even the most canful politicking gives way to chance. I know you must be tired of watching. Waiting.
I am. You yourself said that the court is restless. How many other plans are in the middle of being concocted? Every morning as I get dressed, I wonder, who is ahead of me? Who knows something I do not? What if today is the day that someone else finds the will to act, and I lose my opportunity forever?
Nobody else has the will to act. That much I do know. Perhaps there are courtiers who might know something we do not. Perhaps there are plans, whispered in rooms like these, that are more conclusive. But there is nobody else out there with our will. Your will.
I would like to believe that.
Irregardless, we are acting. We are observing the broad while others play. When the time comes, we will know more than anyone. All the better if something else happens to catch everyone off guard. These are two things moving on their own to attempt to control anything just yet. And if we can nudge just the right pieces in just the right direction without anyone noticing, we may well get exactly what we wanted without having to do anything. The younger man nodded thoughtfully. He leaned back into the soft velvet seat and crossed his legs. In appearance, he was much more relaxed than a moment ago. However, he spoke again, with what was surprising venom.
What do you want?
Why, the same as you, of course. England has a jester for a king. His mistake must be rectified.
So, this is about justice for you?
It is about course correction. Do you doubt me? I know you are cautious, paranoid, but you are able to put your faith in someone, and I assure you that is me.
But what do you want?
I don't understand.
It's a rather simple question.
It's nonsense.
What do I know what I want. I want this stupid title screen to get out of my face. What do you want?
I want the same thing you do. I want to kill the bloody King of England. The younger man grinned wickedly.
My God, man. You just buckled after 2 questions.
Because I wish to answer you truthfully. If anyone else ever inquires, I can assure you. The visitor appeared relaxed once more and waved his hand to swat away his host's excuses.
I hope you'll do better than that if anyone truly presses you.
I shall endeavor to keep it a secret. And if I have until now, and as I have until now, and as I always shall.
While we are on the subject of security, we know the king is poised to... Sorry, the thing's happening again. It's like a very bothersome fly. We know the king is poised to be acted against, but is there not a chance certain undesirable elements might be the ones to act? Are we prepared to deal with them?
Lancaster loyalists?
Yes. It would be a bit of a headache if they beat us to the punch, would it not? Surely those whispers haven't dissipated entirely.
It is certainly wise to keep an eye on them. Matters of succession never settle. He gestured around the room the two were conspiring in. As we are clearly both aware. The younger man put his head in his hands and sighed theatrically.
God almighty. I would have thought Scotland was enough to deal with on its own. Speaking of lineage, however, his son.
That matter is being attended to, I assure you.
So certain you are. I thought we were avoiding getting involved directly.
We are. However, I have discovered a piece that can be nudged. We are not seated at the chess game.
But we can influence the player. Yes, you've already used that one, spinning around the chessboard and all that. Very well. This is nothing too grim you're referring to, I trust.
Not at all. A matter of paperwork. Nothing more, nothing less. However...
However?
You mentioned security? I wanted to propose something to you. Through my various connections, I am owed many favors, and I am owed one in particular that might be useful. Should you ever need a place to lay low.
Why should I need to lay low?
You should never need to. But, as you say, it pays to be paranoid. The master of the house took a roll of parchment out from his desk and spread it across the desk in front of him. His visitor finally arose from the plush seat and strolled over to join in. The map was messy, ugly, perhaps poorly copied. Nevertheless, both men studied it carefully. The master of the house pointed to a spot on the map in the northern hills of England.
A monastery?
An abbey well away from any conflict of note. It is remote, far from even the village it serves, and sparsely attended. You would be made quite comfortable for the duration of your stay.
You are owed some very odd favors. Did a lover of yours take vows?
I correspond with the bishop who administers the Eucharist for the nuns there, who has connections of his own, and so on and so forth. He has sought my help on a few matters, and I in his.
And it's your turn next, I take it.
This is as safe place as you could possibly find. A very peaceful little community, far away from any angry courtiers, or Lancasters. Anyone, for that matter. Perhaps if you were to take, say, a holiday A trip to the hills when Christmas comes to sample the wine.
Ah, it's that sort of abbey.
One of the finest of that sort. And while you were there, nobody could possibly blame you for anything that might happen to the king.
Enough. I will consider it.
Wonderful. The younger man reached into his fashionable doublet and produced a small purse, which he dropped onto the map in front of his host.
This is not for services rendered. This is a gift for a friend who provides stimulating conversation.
My thanks to you. The map was rolled up and swept back to the drawer, and a bottle was placed on the table in its stead. Now then, while I have you here, would you care for a drink?
Achievement.
England, 1483. Is it still doing the thing?
Yeah, next time we get to a stopping point, can you close the Discord stream and try restreaming to me?
I think this is
The
a
YouTube stream
stopping
should be
point.
fine. Yeah, that's why I asked.
I'm going to try application. Maybe that'll help. Instead of entire screen.
Yeah, we shall see. Alright, let's see what happens.
Oh, hello there. You thought to come and keep me company? I am flattered, but I do not need your sympathy. Everyone gets lonely. My situation is not unique. No matter how many people they surround themselves with, no matter how sociable they are to their day-to-day, everyone has an emptiness inside them that cannot be filled. Any better?
Yes,
Okay.
seems to be.
Good. We are insatiable. To know someone is to demand more and more of them. More laughter, more nods as we pass each other in the hallway. More shoulders to cry on, more promises to keep. Once you've tasted companionship, it's impossible not to yearn for it constantly. To strip little pieces away from people like a carrion bird. I'm better off in here, without that hunger, that temptation. I may be locked in a little cell all by myself, but you needn't waste your time with me. Or is it that you're lonely too? And perhaps you'd like me to change the subject to something a little less melancholy. That is a shame. I must apologize. If it's company you're after, you are stuck with me and my musings for now. There's no point in belaboring all of this. What's done is done. But I suppose I'm not going anywhere. I could pretend to be an anchoress once more. For old time's sake. You understand the duties of a proper anchoress, I'm assuming? It's more or less what you're doing right now. You have questions, and I have answers. That is all, really. I used to have a more flowery opinion of the work, but that's all it boils down to. I would read scripture and copy the scripture to prepare for moments like this. Reading and writing. Questions and answers. Thank God I have the answers. Questions without answers make me feel like the loneliest of all. It all began about a year ago. Answering questions was my life's purpose. I sat in this room and studied scripture day in, day out, hoping that when someone came to me with a question, I'd have an answer. And let me be perfectly clear, this was a purpose, not a vocation. There was a rite of consecration and everything. That's right. Speaking of someone who is a bit like a living saint. Are you moved? Do you feel particularly rapturous? Odd? Well, please don't. I don't live that way anymore. Just because I'm stuck in here again doesn't mean I get all that back. I turned my back on my duties, all because I got caught up in a worldly mess I had no business with. Anyway, before all that, I never left this room. I lived in here as long as I can remember. Meals delivered every day through a squint. The Eucharist performed by the visiting bishop through the squint. Laundry passed back and forth through the squint. My apologies. The hagioscope is the proper term. It's what we're talking through right now. I don't mean to be dramatic, but I always assumed I'd die in here. Why wouldn't I? I had everything I needed. Honestly, that's not a complaint. I loved my work, even and most of the questions I got were incredibly frivolous. I'd help the other sisters win arguments. Is God really never mentioned in Esther? That king of thing. He is not, in case you're wondering. I cherished every question I was asked. I was just happy to get them because I was, yes, lonely. I did not realize it at the time, but I was. That excitement I felt when someone arrived with a question for me was, I thought, the manifestation of my duty as an anchoress. The sense of fulfillment for being theologically helpful. That might have been part of it, but really, I was only hoping to have someone to talk to. Anyway, 9 times out of 10, the questions I answered were nothing but idle conversation. But one day, this is you. It's a girl.
All right. Hello.
England, 1482. I had no
1 year
idea
ago.
who it was at first. I can't see through the hagioscope. It's for privacy's sake, you see. If some poor soul were to come to me with a question about his marriage, do you think it'd be fair if I could see him? If he could see me, do you think he'd be able to ask me what he really wanted to ask me? No, of course that's never happened. Who's going to walk all the way up the hill just to ask me for marital advice? The point is, I have no idea who's on the other end of this. The door on your end locks, save for a little hatch to speak and pass this and that through. You're quite muffled, by the way. Speak up. Don't worry yourself too much about it, though. There's not much to be done about the echo. Sorry. If you were waiting for me to have some revelatory moment of recognition based on your voice, you're out of luck. Unless you talk to me directly,
Me too.
I won't know who you are. Actually, you know what? Please, don't tell me. Perhaps I'll guess later. We can make a game of it. It's safer, but it is dreadfully boring being back in here. For all I know, you could be here to mock me. Or worse. If I knew who you were for certain, I might not be telling you any of this. But you've caught me in a chatty mood, and I am willing to throw caution to the winds. Let's just leave it at that for now and return to the story about a different visitor.
Same voice.
Yes.
Anyone there?
Yes?
I apologize. That's a rather silly question, isn't it?
No, not at all. I could have, been sleeping.
I suppose that's true. You'd still be there, though, if that was the case.
Oh, my. Very philosophical. Someone came prepared, didn't she? Yes, I was a little more chipper back then.
Philosophical? There's a word I wouldn't have expected from you. Unless... You wouldn't happen to have some Aquinas on your shelf, would you?
I do indeed. A fair bit, actually.
Fathomable. unfathomably based. My condolences. Well, what's it like in there?
What do you mean?
In your cell. What's it like?
Well, it's, nice. I think.
You think?
Well, I don't have much of a point of comparison, if that makes sense.
You have books.
That's an understatement. I have lots and lots of books.
And you've read all of them?
Many times, yes.
So, you have lots to compare your experience to, surely. There are lots of nice places and books.
Well, I suppose that's true. I never really thought of it that way. The nice places in the text I tend to read.
Religious texts.
Christian scripture, yes.
Aquinas has a lot to say about architecture, but I can't blame you for not finding his descriptions particularly gripping. There are plenty of nice places in the Bible I can think of, though. Cities and palaces and so on.
Nice to look at, certainly. Physically comfortable, but spiritually, less so.
You're telling me you wouldn't have liked to have seen, I don't know, King Solomon's palace?
Certainly not. It sounds beautiful, but it was built on sin after sin in Kings 11:4.
Vanity of vanities. I know.
Sorry. I assumed you weren't one of the sisters if you were asking questions of the visiting Solomon's palace. This was unlike any conversation I have ever had previously. It was so casual, yet so exhaustive. Or, to put it another way, the words themselves weren't detailed, but it was conversation only people enamored with little details could have. Relaxed, but practiced. After a while, she thanked me and left. Then she started showing up regularly. I don't remember every last thing we talked about. Usually, she would ask me one or two questions and things tumbled forwards from that point. We would chat about scriptural specifics, argue lightly over minor interpretations of the Bible, and even talk in the finer points of translating Hebrew and Greek into Latin. It was the first time I had ever felt challenged by a visitor. My Greek is terrible and my Hebrew is non-existent, I must admit. We didn't always agree. In fact, I'd hazard a guess to say we mostly didn't. But it never felt contentious. We were like expert swordsmen having rigorous sparring sessions. In fact, I did bring that up once or twice.
Isn't it funny that the Bible refers to so many soldiers as comely?
Why is that funny?
Well, a man wrote it.
Oh, I don't know what you're implying.
Yes, you do.
And I don't think that's appropriate.
It's inappropriate.
No, really.
All I'm saying is that it's Knights of Samuel to call soldiers comely.
Oh, really? You are terrible. It's simply a descriptive embellishment for the reader.
No it isn't. Not a single error, not a single lie.
That's not really a lie, though, is it? It puts a picture in your mind. The soldier is attractive. Doesn't something immediately spring into your head?
Something does, that's for certain.
Oh, stop!
Can you imagine handsome soldiers very often? You sound experienced.
This is...
This is what?
Anyway, it might not have been Samuel.
That's true. It could have been Nathan.
Or Gad.
You think one of them snuck into his house and added comely to some of the descriptions while Samuel was sleeping? Some kind of prank?
Rank, that would get someone killed.
We're just having some fun. Does that seem right to you, though?
No, I feel horrible having joked about it, to tell you the truth. I'm all on edge.
No. I mean, does it seem right that a man would be stoned to death for, I suppose, calling another man handsome?
Well, that's just not true. Samuel wrote it and wasn't stoned for it.
Away with it because it's scripture, though.
Did you read that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Samuel gets away with it because it's scripture. That people hear it and go, "Ah, well." The Bible is inerrant, so the soldier was handsome. If two Israelites met, and one said, "My, you're handsome,"
We'd certainly get a slap across the face.
is that what you do?
To a man who called me comely.
To a woman?
If anyone called me comely, I'd likely just be confused.
Oh, come now. Don't give me that. Self-depreciating humor gives me the shivers. It's the coward's way of asking for praise.
No, I just am not very attractive. So if someone called me comely, I knew they were a liar.
I do wish you could see me rolling my eyes right now. You'll get nothing from me behaving like this.
I had no idea what her game was. These weren't theological questions. Honestly, the questions didn't seem to mean much of anything at all. She'd ask them, and by the time it was time for her to leave, we would have charted the course around every possible discussion, except one that answered the original inquiry. I didn't mind, but I didn't understand either. I still don't.
How long have you been stuck in there?
As long as I can remember. I don't think I'm stuck, though. I serve the Lord in solitude. It's as fulfilling as it is necessary.
Have you ever left?
I should think not.
Ever?
Absolutely not.
Oh. I thought you might leave for meals occasionally.
Not at all. My meals are given through me through the little door you're behind. Communion as well when the bishop comes around.
How do you use the privy?
But
How do you shit, woman?
I have a chamber pot. It gets taken away when my meals are delivered.
Goodness me. It must be rather small to fit through here. And let me get this straight. You swap your...
Do not talk about this.
Someone has to carry it all the way to the privy to dump it out.
I don't want to think about it.
You know, I was feeling quite sorry for you and your hermetic lifestyle, but you get to read and write all day. And your meals are delivered to you.
How else would I live?
And your waste collected. Why, you're practically weighted on hand and foot, my liege.
I am not. You know, sometimes I just chuck it out the window. Besides, I didn't ask for this life. It's a responsibility.
They all say that. Noblesse oblige, and so on. It's ours, the dignity they give to grace.
I'm drawing a blank on that one.
No, it's not a Bible verse. It's the Iliad.
I'm not familiar.
Goodness, they didn't even give you any fun books?
I bristled at that one. Scripture was fun. Nothing that doesn't serve my earthly purpose, no.
No way to go through life, even as a woman of God. What good is scripture if you can't apply it to anything else in life?
Studying the Bible is my life. I could sense a strain in her voice at this point. If you'll excuse this wretch for a moment of self-pity, I am more than aware of how difficult I was to be around. Not that that's changed.
That's all well and good, but you've got an awfully narrow view of the world from that cell. Do you have a window? To the outside, I mean?
Of course!
That's good at least. Have you ever seen the sun?
I just told you I have a window. I see lots of sunlight.
No. I mean the sun itself. In the sky. I am awful with direction. Did your window face east? Or west? You'd see the sun one way or another, if it did.
No. I haven't.
Well, don't worry. One day, you will.
What's that supposed to mean?
What do you do for fun?
Well,
Unless that's private.
talking with you is fun.
That's very nice to hear.
I think this might be the only time I have ever knocked her off her balance. I could hear it in her voice, even though it was muffled by wood and echoed through stone. Her commanding tone softened, and her voice grew thinner.
Have you ever read any plays?
Plays? No. I've only read about the amphitheaters in passing.
But you understand the concept, surely.
I'm gonna mess with the volume a bit. It's a bit loud.
That's fair. It's good on my end, but you would know better.
I mean, I can't tell if it's at the stream, but it's loud for me to hear you.
Yeah, that's quite alright.
It's very Roman.
Greek. But yes.
People dressing up and performing. I'm not sure how to feel about it. It feels a little dangerous. Spiritually, I mean.
Well, if it makes you feel any better. A lot of plays since ancient Greek times have been about the Bible.
That's nice, I suppose.
Ooh, careful. Don't let His Holiness Innocent III hear you say that.
Wait, is that bad? What did you just trick me into saying?
I wouldn't worry about it. He's been dead for, 300 years? I'm sure Sixtus wouldn't mind. He's much kinder to the theater.
It wasn't funny. It's like you're goading me into blaspheming.
I'm sorry, I sort of assumed you would know who the Pope is.
You receive very little news in here. If it isn't a matter of complete catastrophe, I probably won't hear about it. As long as the Pope is the Pope and the nation is still a part of the Catholic Church, news is not exactly material to me.
What nation are we in?
England?
Do you know what year it is?
1482. Come now, what do you take me for?
What month is it? Oh dear.
I mean, that's not too relevant to me. Mostly I just look outside and tell what season it is. I get a special meal on Christmas.
That much I know. I brought it to you last year.
How often have you visited me now?
I'll never tell.
Have it your way. What month is it, though?
October. Samhain, to be specific. Ooh.
Oh, stop.
Has anyone ever pulled any mischief night pranks on you?
Mercifully not to my knowledge. I get plenty of mischief from you, though.
Fair play. Listen. I need to move on, but I'll bring you a play to read next time. I know. Just the one. I know. I can trust you with handling a book with care at the very least.
Alright. I'd like that. I think.
Can I... Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Would it be alright if I opened this?
The squint? No. I'm really sorry.
Is that another rule?
It is, but I honestly cannot. It locks from that side. I can't open it myself. It needs the key.
Of all the luck. I should have thought of that last Christmas.
And really, I'm not meant to look through.
Of course. You're a very good rule follower, too.
Then again, if you were trying to bring me a book, I suppose you'd have to open it, wouldn't you? And wouldn't be able to do much about it, and I wouldn't be able to do much about it if you saw me taking the book, would I?
That is true.
That sounds like a good idea to me in that case.
All right, then. Promise you'll read it? Yeah.
Of course.
Lovely. I can't wait to discuss it with you. That's the important part of reading, scripture included. Don't ever forget that.
I'll try not to.
There's a good girl. Anyways. Goodbye for now. I'm late for Vespers.
Goodbye. She never did bring me that play. It's not her fault, I suppose. When I went to sleep that night, all I could hear was an incessant scratching. I should have known then that the devil wanted me. He had been trying to claw his way into my cell my whole life. An elaborate plan to get to me was taking shape. Scratch, scratch. It echoed down the hall and throughout my cell for what seemed like hours, shaving away at the walls, breaking down the barrier that had kept me safe in here for God knows how many years. Inside my head, I dreamed that I was trapped in a small box, pounding and beating against the lid. Should have known. I should have known. I should have known! Every sign pointed to something being wrong. That nagging feeling in your gut when you can tell something is amiss. You should listen to it. Every time I've acted against it, I've regretted the decision. For example, usually the food I received in here was actually quite nice. I even looked forward to the fish, but once I received some fish on a Sunday that smelled terrible. I was so hungry, but I ate it anyway. I was sick for days, naturally. Do you understand? This is how my life works. I jump in without thought of a moment's hesitation would save me. Some might, like some of the other nuns might have said once upon a time, I never think more than one move ahead. Like a stubborn child, I will succumb to every whim, every fleeting desire. I read so much scripture. I lived a blessed life. I knew better, and if I could do it, if I could fall so easily without another soul in that cell, naught but stone and paper on my fingertips, what could I do if I was set loose in the wider world? Thoughts so far?
Pretty good. I don't have too much to go off of yet, but I'm enjoying character dynamics so far.
Yeah, it's great. For the next few weeks,
Yeah.
I think it was that scene that kind of got me hooked on it because I was just so enamored by the dialogue. It was just so cute. I love the banter back and
Yeah.
forth. For the first few weeks, I was alone again. I must admit it stung a bit. I was really looking forward to reading that play. Despite my better judgment, I dutifully continued my work in the meantime, brushing upon on scripture, transcribing scripture, and quoting scripture to an odd visitor. I had a few inquiries, but for once I could immediately tell that they weren't who I was waiting for. I'm not sure who they were, nor did I particularly care. I just knew they weren't her. The scratching continued. My dreams became more and more desperate. Sometimes I broke through the wood surrounding me, but whenever I did, my mouth would fill with cloth. I could wake up choking. Oh, yes, I mentioned transcription. That was the other half of my work. As well as being in font of wisdom, I helped spread the gospel through writing. I'd copy page after page, book after book. I even did illumination. I must admit that was my favorite part. I wasn't particularly good at it, but I was proud of it. Sometimes I imagined someone opening a book and being moved by the words, but the illumination, that gold leaf I carefully placed, really inspiring them. Pride. Stupid. Anyway, these books would pile up in my cell until they were collected by the turn of every season by the visiting bishop. Is the stream doing okay on your end?
Definitely way better than it was last time. It's stuttering a bit, but not nearly as bad as I guess when it's bad.
Okay.
It is stuttering an acceptable amount.
Good. Just making sure.
Yeah, when we're doing dialogue and stuff, is it noticeable that it's a bit
No.
laggy?
No. It was very noticeable in the
Perfect.
first scene, but not as bad in this scene.
Yeah. Well, in that one, I had to deal with not only much worse lag, but also just sometimes the title screen would pop up for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. When I heard a knock on the door, I assumed it was him. You're early. I've not yet finished with Matthew. This is you.
Is that
Different character.
same voice?
No, different character.
All right. Female?
Yes.
Right.
This is your superior. I'm not here to collect your books.
Okay. I very rarely heard from the superior. She would, on rare occasions, deliver important news. I remember her coming to tell me about the war in Spain. I couldn't possibly wrap my head around. Now that I think about it, I vaguely remember her informing me that His Holiness Sixtus the Sixth had been confirmed. Oh, Sixtus the Fourth had been confirmed. Stupid.
It's okay, I've stuck with Roman numerals too.
If only I'd remembered that when. If only I remember that when she was at my window.
I need your help with a sensitive matter.
Well, that's why I'm here.
May I come in?
No, that's not.
Not allowed? I was worried it might come to this. I understand under normal circumstances that would be the case. But I am the superior.
Nobody can rightfully unseal the cell but the bishop who performed my rites.
He won't be here for several weeks, at least.
And I doubt very much that he'll let you in here. But even if he did...
I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation.
I don't think you understand. There are rites. This is a tomb. I am dead to the outside world, a vessel of purest prayer, and...
A woman has been murdered.
My stomach dropped. I made the connection immediately. It couldn't have been. Murdered? Her? The rest of this conversation continued through gritted teeth and hurried whispers.
Murder! Under my protection, in these very halls.
Who killed her?
A stable boy from the nearby village has been blamed. He's currently being held in the hospitalum on suspicion of the act, and will be dealt with accordingly when the time comes.
Good. So why do you need my help? Why do you need to open this door? I'm very happy to offer any spiritual counsel you require, but...
If the bishop were to arrive, and I had no answer as to why a sister is dead...
You do have an answer. You just said so yourself. No! Mother Superior, do not... Clack. Clack. I felt helpless. Dumbfounded. The door swung outward, and I looked upon the first human I'd seen up close in God only knows how long. Perhaps 2 decades. I had plenty of illustrations of men and women in my illuminated tomes. I'd see glimpses of hands passing through the squint. I'd occasionally notice that what I thought were people walking around the halls I could see from my window. But now, there was a full person in front of me, draped in black. She looked weathered, and even though I hadn't gazed upon another face, in years and years, I immediately recognized the expression she wore. A deep, gnawing concern. I was too angry to care, however. You!
I am sorry.
This You violated a sacred right!
It brings me no pleasure to do this, believe me. But it is vitally important that you leave this cell.
At this point, I had already backed myself up against the far wall, as far away from the door as possible.
Stop crying, please. And step away from the window.
It was hard to speak through my own ugly sobbing. The superior gently closed the door behind her, as if that would make me feel any better. Any sense of comfort had gone rushing out the threshold as soon as the seal was broken. She sat on the bed and beckoned for me to do the same. I refused.
As you said, I do have an answer for the bishop whenever he arrives. But I'm not certain it's the right one.
You're not?
The young man was indeed found sneaking around the convent the morning the body was discovered. And he had no compelling excuse as to why that would be. But something just doesn't feel right. Everyone agrees it was him.
You're not making any sense. Everyone agrees it was him, so...
That's just it. That's a little odd, don't you think? Every last sister here immediately in agreement that a stable hand, a complete outsider, was responsible? A little convenient, no?
I'm honestly not sure what you're suggesting. Why would they lie? What reason would you have not to trust them? And then she laughed. A single, bitter, hollow wheeze of a laugh.
Your being kept in here has made you more naive than I thought. You will learn, I suppose.
I very much doubt that. If you think I'm about to throw away a life's work...
Your sealed cell is exactly why I need your help. You are now the single person I can trust completely in this abbey. Every other sister, more or less, has had free run of the place, except for you. I need you to join the congregation. To investigate my hunch that something is amiss.
You're asking me to spy on people. How dare you? How dare you break into my cell and demand this of me? I won't have it.
Please, can you not feel it? There is something wrong in this place. Very wrong. Deep in the walls. I tried to ignore it. Tamp it down for so long. And now this. Someone's died, my child. I should have done more to protect her. I could have watched closer. I could have not given up whenever I felt that creeping dread. There is something dark at work here, and I have worked too long and too hard to let a mystery like this bury my abbey's reputation for good. This is my penance. You can help me right a grievous wrong. I don't want to send a potentially innocent young man to die. Catherine wouldn't have wanted that.
Catherine. That was her name then. The woman who had come to talk to me so many times. Catherine. It felt like I had learned the shape of the thing that had shattered. And all of a sudden I felt obligated to help put it back together. All right. She had been deep in thought as I chewed things over. I said all right. I will help.
Good. Good. Tomorrow, you'll join the regular congregation. I will make sure the other sisters bring you up to speed on the proceedings so you can become one of them as soon as possible. I'm sure I don't need to emphasize this, but just to be clear, you are not to let on what it is you are doing.
Won't it be obvious?
I waited some time before coming here for that precise reason. But if anyone asks, you are our new chronicler.
Chronicler?
Yes. That was Catherine's position before, well. And you are clearly a skilled copyist. I've told the sisters that you are a perfect fit for the position, and everyone seems amenable. We won't have to spend months upon months hoping a new oblate will be qualified and want the role.
And none of the others wanted to be the new chronicler?
No. They did not.
She stood up and strode towards the door, keys in hand.
Tomorrow, then. I'll send Catherine to escort you in the morning service.
But... A small flicker of realization played over her face, and she offered a weak smile.
With a gay. The Catherine we lost was with the sea.
She stood on the threshold, her apologetic smile wavering.
Well, tomorrow.
All I could do was cry. I had been locked in here my whole life, and now I was being told to leave my legacy behind. I had been comfortable here, happy with humble servitude, dead to the world, but never to myself, peacefully unaware of anything outside the walls of my cell. I had no need to care about trivial, fleeting matters. My life was God's. I was angry at the Superior for breaking down the barrier and tainting my meticulously organized little world, but I was even angrier at whoever had taken those conversations from me, whoever had taken that play from me. So that's what I chose to focus on, how I chose to interpret events. Stupid. Interpretation was never how I was taught to process scripture, but I ignored the fact that the Superior was the one who had stepped through the door in lieu of the desire to seek a nebulous form of justice. I took my evening meal from the squint without a word. My head felt like it had been filled with smoke. My eyes watered at the sensation, and I had become more aware of my palms than I'd ever before. I couldn't keep from wiping them against my thigh incessantly, fidgeting before each page turn as I struggled to find some piece of comfort in my books. I couldn't find one. Pathetic, wasn't I? 20-some-odd years spending reading scripture to the point where I could feasibly recite it without even glancing at the pages. But nothing leapt out at me as I flipped through the tomes. Words barely registered as words. Many people held a passage or a particular psalm to heart. I myself did not. I had been immersed in the Bible for so long, it was difficult to single out any one piece of text that truly spoke to me at this moment. Usually I would chalk this up to essence of my position. I had no need for a favorite passage when my life was devoted to all passages. I'd simply never hold any one piece of wisdom in higher esteem than any other. The holistic way to think about the book, until I found myself in need. I tried searching for meaning in the text I had been copying before Superior barged in, but the letters might as well have been Greek. I felt sick to my stomach, and racked with worries, guilt, and rage. I didn't want to feel any more, so I tore off my clothes and rolled into the straw mattress and closed my eyes as tight as I could. I woke up, rasping for air through the sloshing liquid. Instinctively throwing onto my side, I splattered dark bile into the streak across the mattress and onto the floor. I could feel myself coming and scrambling onto my hands and knees, launching myself out of bed like a wild dog. I tried standing, but couldn't. I heaved more of the vile liquid onto the stone floor with a horrible gurgle. Weakly, I pulled myself up using the chair and served my writing desk across from the bed, but not before retching again. Streaks of bile flew across the copy of Matthew I had been transcribing until still open on the reading desk. I groaned and launched myself from the chair towards the window, hoping to be able to wrest the foul substance I could still feel bubbling in my throat outside. Skip these nasty details? No, I don't think so. I spent years listening to everything others had to say, and I must admit, I'm very much enjoying having someone listen to me. You'll permit me this relatively small indulgence. Besides, I lived it, and you're just hearing the story. I'm sure you can manage. I flung open the wooden window, covered just in time to heave the last of that toxic bile into the dusk. I leaned my head out for a few moments. I could hear the faint splash of the stuff as it hit the grass below. I panted for a bit, attempting to regain my composure. Eventually, I was able to stop wheezing and breathe somewhat normally. You're familiar with the concept of humors, yes? The 4 elements reside in our bodies, manifested as various fluids. Oh, don't sound so incredulous. I learned a little bit about the world before I took an oath as an anchoress. The 4 humors are elements that make up our earthly selves. The balance is very delicate, as I understand. So delicate that practically nobody is perfectly balanced. Blood is one of the humors, and determines our sanguinity. Yellow bile is a little nasty. People with lots of yellow bile in their systems are short-tempered, aggressive. Some would say confident, but I'd say a little cruel. There's phlegm, too. It naturally generates in old age, but many younger people have it in excess as well. You can tell because they're wise, calm, and reserved. I wouldn't mind having an excess of phlegm, honestly. As funny as that word is to say. Sadly, I'm full of black bile instead. Does that surprise you? I'm joking. Of course it wouldn't surprise you. Black bile determines how melancholic you are. That night, after a whirlwind of horrible news and negative thoughts, I was simply overloaded with black bile. My poor little body couldn't handle it, and I had to expel some. I suppose I've always had quite a bit of black bile, now that I think about it. My hair is black, which is a common sign that someone is full of the stuff. I had never felt particularly melancholy until the night, however. Being shut away from the world influences have spared me from ever allowing my humoric balance of color to color my emotions. There was no going back after that, sadly. Anyway, shakily I managed to stand up straight again. I hobbled back over to the bed and rummaged around beneath it to find the brush I had been given years ago. Clean up after the occasional ink spill or dropped supper plate. Along with the small pail I had been washing, it would have to make do for scrubbing off the horrid mess I'd made. The cell had its own faucet, mercifully, which dribbled lukewarm water onto the bucket I held with trembling hands. It took far longer than I had hoped to erase any trace of the bile from the flagstone. By the time I was finished, my knees and back ached. I should have at least rolled my habit to provide some cushion for my knees, but I wasn't thinking straight. I was in so much dull pain by the time I stood up that noticing the dirtied book sitting on my writing desk was just not something I could handle. I'm not proud to admit that I practically tore the whole damn thing from its plinth and stomped over to the window, still nude as anything, to hurl it to the night sky. I must have looked like a crazed Olympian discus thrower. I regretted it instantly. Not only was it a childish thing to do, but I swear I saw someone looking up at me. I scurried away from the window as fast as I could. I flung myself onto bed. With my face buried in my pillow, I scrunched my eyes closed. I could feel what felt like a spike being driven through my head, and I was painfully aware of every bone in my body. I ached, I wailed, I despaired, and then finally, sleep. The next morning, I woke up feeling worse than if I hadn't slept at all. The aches may have subsided somewhat, but pain that had afflicted my head had merely reduced to a low-level buzz that made every thought take twice as long to finish. I meekly slid out of bed, attempted to wash myself with water from the bucket, although I had wasted most of the scrubbing to the bile the previous night. I went to toss the excess through the window so I could ask for it to be refilled later. I could still see my copy of Matthew on the ground beneath the window. An embarrassing reminder of last night's behavior. Halfway through tossing the water out, I remember the horrible apparition I'd seen outside the night before. That woke me up. I turned away from the window as quickly as I had the night before, even though there was nothing to see out there in the light of day. I simply didn't want to think about it anymore. Nervously, I slipped on my habit, clipped up my wimple, put on my cowl, The superior had told me that somebody, Catherine, would come to collect me before the morning service. Morning service. Ah, I've forgotten matins. This is Catherine with a K.
And it also is me?
Yes.
Alright. Let's see. Are you decent in there?
Yes.
Good, good.
You can change the voice once you see the character if you like. Yeah.
That's fine by me. Just a moment. God, which key was it? Well, look at you.
She immediately reached out and yanked on my cowl, adjusting it to suit her liking.
You look awful. This won't do. Superior would have my head.
I looked up at her, bewildered.
Sorry, poor taste.
She licked her thumb before pressing it against my forehead and tucking an unruly cowlick under my wimple. I bristled instinctively and pulled away. I was not particularly pleased that my first physical contact in over 20 years was this woman rubbing a wet digit across my temple. Hey!
I'm just trying to make you presentable. For heaven's sake, I was busy all night and still managed to look my best today.
He grabbed my cheeks and peered into my eyes, looking simultaneously deep in thought and maddeningly aloof. After and hawing for a moment, she licked another finger and tucked in the rest of my hair sticking out from the wimple quite rudely. Then, after squeezing and stretching my cheeks a little, she gave them a light, frosty slap. Apparently satisfied, she clapped me on the shoulders and patted down my robe to straighten it.
That'll have to do. We're going to have to work on your face, though. It's absolutely colorless.
You know what I should have done that would have been really funny? I should have given her other Catherine's voice.
You hit me!
It's too late now, but it would have been funny.
It gets the blood flowing, my dear. I knew you were going to be a mess, but I wasn't expecting things to be this bad.
This was bewildering. You're Catherine, right?
The one and only. And your name is?
Hedwig.
Adorable. Now, let's get along. The last thing I need is a talking to from the Superior.
She took a moment to admire her handiwork, eyeing me up and down. And with that, she turned her heel and began to stride down the hallway. I couldn't follow her. I had never left the cell. I stood upon the threshold. I felt as though I was rocking back and forth on the deck of a ship. I closed my eyes for a moment, perhaps hoping that I'd open them and be back where I was just a few weeks ago, sheltered, sealed, and content.
Are you coming?
I savored a few precious last seconds. Yes, I'm ready now.
Off we go, then.
I don't speak Italian. I don't know what that says.
It could also be Latin, I don't know.
That is the joke.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I've never seen the hallway outside my cell before. It was quite long, and Catherine was walking briskly towards the end.
For reference, any language I don't recognize is Italian, unless it's Italian, in which case it's Spanish.
We've a way to go yet, I'm afraid. Right here, if you please.
We passed a set of windows with a little statue of the Madonna and child nestled between them. We took another turn after that, into the hall equally as long as the one my cell was located in, I caught the briefest glimpse of the cloister out of the window.
Up ahead are the dorms where the rest of us live. And the Misericorde on the right, just before those. Then the door next to that is the library. Ah, left at the stairs, just before the dorms. There's a good girl. Oh. My God.
I puffed up a little. I know how to use stairs, thank you very much. And stop cursing! That's thrice now I've counted.
Go on then. After you.
I gingerly put one foot on the first step down.
Very good.
See?
One more.
I began to descend the staircase very slowly. I instinctively held my hands out for balance, until I felt Catherine's firmly gripping them and planting them on my sides.
You just walk down them normally.
No!
This is really precious. I'll race you to the bottom.
But she had already casually strolled down to the landing. She pointed to the staircase that descended the other way as I wobbled my way down to her.
There's more this way, just so you know.
You are being perfectly horrible.
Aren't I just? Hurry up, you've got places to be and people to meet.
We came to the foyer and a door leading out with a cloister, the sunlight creeping in simultaneously daunting and enticing.
The good thing we don't get much heat here. Your skin looks like it might cook in the sun.
She ushered me through the door, not allowing me the same moment I had taken leaving the threshold of my cell. The cloister was a rectangle of grass surrounded by stone arches. Passages ran around the grass, each leading to a part of the Covenant that I hadn't been to yet. The sun glinted off what appeared to be the metal crucifix in the middle of the lawn. Although... Do you happen to know if this abbey was built according to St. Gall's plan? I'm just curious about how this place is laid out.
What, pray tell, is St. Gall's plan?
You know, the standard layout for abbeys. I thought all Benedictine monasteries followed it.
They might. I wouldn't know.
And, well, I thought that the door would be taking us out into the east, but we're facing south, and...
How on earth do you know that? Have you got a compass hidden somewhere in that little frock of yours?
Do I? No, it's easy. The sun rises in the east, so that's over there. I pointed left, where I could see the sun rays creeping over the walls of the cloister.
I wasn't aware you'd ever seen the sunrise.
So, ahead of us, from this door, would be south. Normally, the chapel would be in the northern half of this monastery, or rather, the tower would face north, and the oblates would live in the southwest.
Goodness. You must have had some very, interesting books to read in that cell of yours.
Of course, this abbey very well could have been built around the Roman plan. That would follow,
considering we're Catholics.
I ignored this. Fascinating.
I'm sure it is to someone.
Catherine looked at me, clearly amused by my interest in the layout of the building. I felt as though I had made a fool of myself despite correctly observing something. That was a first. I didn't have much of a chance to feel sorry for myself before I got scared witless by a voice right behind me. As far as I know, the building was supposed to follow the plan of St. Gall, but the builders got a little turned around in the storm. I would have jumped all my way out of the habit then and there. I wheeled around with a yelp. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I'm Sister Margaret. I take it you're the anchoress everyone's been whispering about.
That's her.
Yes, My name's Hedwig. And, well, not anymore. I mean, my name is still Hedwig, but I'm not the anchoress anymore. Obviously.
Isn't she precious?
It's nice to meet you. A word of advice? You can still go back to your cell. You can tell the soup you weren't feeling well. How did she... No, I feel fine. Why would I... Margaret turned her gaze to Catherine, as if to deliver some long-anticipated bad news. She's fixed the portative.
Oh, has she now? God, maybe you'll tell her I'm sick today.
Up. Ding! And, what's a portative? Margaret made a little wiggling gesture with her fingers. A little organ.
Which means we'll be singing.
And more to the point, means the superior will be singing. I should quite like to hear some liturgical songs, actually.
Oh. Liturgical. That's a word for it.
It'll certainly make you think about God.
It'll make you pray for him to smite the damned organ. That's certain.
Is that what you're going with?
I didn't think we'd decided.
We can get our story straight later then. Her words belied a mischievous sense of humor that I would never have expected given her stoic expression. Just as soon as I thought this, however, a little smile crept across her face. Pleasant meeting you. She glided away as silently as she had arrived.
Well... Hurry up. If we meet many more sisters on the way, we'll never get there.
We continued along the path around the cloister towards the chapel. Two women were huddled close to each other outside the large wooden door, speaking in hushed tones. Catherine leaned down to whisper in my ear.
Also, the H in Hedwig's name in the text box is just violently making me angry. I don't know if you've seen it, if you've paid attention to it, but it's bad.
Not.
Okay, well, next time you have a line, you'll be traumatized like I am.
The mousy one is Eustace. She's quite smart and a little bossy. You two should get along swimmingly.
You're Eustace, the one with glasses.
Alright.
The other is Darcy, who... Well, Darcy is very special. Darcy...
Let me think of a good voice for this.
Darcy, are you sure you're going to be able to sit through service without doing... anything? You keep giggling. It's very distracting.
Probably because of all the stuff I drank before we came here.
That much I gathered. Why would you drink anything you've cooked up before service?
I thought it would be funny.
It might be a little funny.
That's right. A pair noticed Catherine and I walking past. Darcy gave me a strange little wave where she wiggled each finger individually. Eustace, though, She gave me a strange look that I couldn't quite place, but I didn't appreciate. Was I just fresh out of my cell and unable to comprehend any expressions subtler than Catherine's, or did Eustace seem to dislike me intensely?
Ah.
I had plowed directly into someone walking past Eustace and Darcy. In my attempt to keep myself righted, I grabbed a handful of cloak. I tumbled into the floor, nearly dragging the mystery person with me. Thank God I let go down the way. I looked up at the woman who I collided with and realized something. This is what intense dislike looked like. Oh yeah, it's like a lowercase h.
Yeah, it's like the worst lowercase h. It's like you bent the top and rounded the bottom. It's like a claw underneath a diving board. It just makes me so upset.
I'm terribly sorry. This is you.
I know this is Catherine, but I have to find yet another voice.
Yes, you do.
Ah, Angela. I see you've met our newest oblate.
Catherine shot me a little smirk as I pulled myself off the ground.
This is Sister Hedwig. She's still finding her footing, as you can see.
I'm really very, very sorry. Angela said nothing to me. She simply looked at me up and down quickly before returning to Catherine.
Your door is still broken. Oh, is it now? You told me you would see to getting it fixed 2 weeks ago. Yes, well, I'm a busy woman, Angela. Not too busy to spend most of your evenings in the Misericorde, I've noticed.
Catherine took a step closer to Angela. She was barely 1 inch taller, but she was making quite the effort to make it seem like there was more, that there were 10 between them.
Find anything else interesting in my room, Angie? Or were you just testing the door? Just the same. Musk, as always. I didn't even have to check inside. It wafted out of the door on its own when I tested the hinges. How diligent. And here I was thinking Darcy's experiments might be more odorous than anything I might hide. Darcy's experiments aren't alive.
She idly watched Eustace and Darcy walking past her into the chapel with Margaret and several other people I didn't recognize.
Yet, as always, my dear sweet Angela, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sure.
She shot me another icy look before turning her heel to head into the chapel.
Time for service.
Catherine made a high-pitched little noise that sounded like a mocking sneeze. Angela froze for a moment, but did not turn around before continuing to the hall.
Angela is convinced I am keeping a cat in my room. She's been bothering me about it for months.
Are you?
Of course not. They're filthy little things.
Inside the chapel, everyone was already sitting in pews, all except the superior, who I could make out standing at the altar near the back. She did indeed have a small device in front of her that I had never seen before. Given the apprehensive looks on the other sisters' faces, I could guess that it was that dreaded portative organ. She noticed me walking in with Catherine, and gave me an appreciative little curl of the lip just barely legible from far away. When she spoke, her voice echoed around the chapel. It made me jump.
Ah, greetings, Sister Hedwig. I would like everyone to give her a warm welcome.
A murmur of dullest enthusiasm rumbled through the chapel. I gave a little bow in the head, unsure of how to properly respond. Thank you.
Come up here, if you'd please.
Any trouble?
Are you good? No, I said my line. Did you not hear it?
No, I did not.
Come up here, if you'd please. I'd like to introduce you properly.
She glared at the other nuns.
To the congregation.
I gingerly stepped forward and walked up to the altar. Every footstep echoed around the large room, and I could feel everyone's stares boring into my back. When I reached the superior, she gave me an encouraging smile. I turned around to face my adoring public, who mostly looked like they wouldn't mind if I were to drop dead in front of them. All save for Darcy. All save for Darcy, anyway, who was looking straight past me with a serene expression. Hello? There was a collective grunt. It felt like one older woman with an eye patch sitting near the back was watching me with a particular interest. She was smiling, but she said nothing. There was an awkward pause. Hello? Oh, sorry. Darcy stuck a hand out and started waving silently before Eustace grabbed it and tucked it back down at her side. The superior gave me a little nudge. Well, it's lovely to meet everyone, or rather the people I've met so far. Catherine, Margaret, Angela, and I walked past Darcy and Eustace, so we didn't really meet, but it was you seem very nice. Not that Catherine and Margaret aren't nice, and I also don't mean I don't mean the rest of you won't be lovely to meet when I can, if you want to. I suppose I'm meeting all of you right now, but personally, you know. Oh goodness, that sounds strange. At this point, I wouldn't have minded dropping dead in front of everyone either. But I couldn't stop there. Well, I suppose the best way to get to know people is through prayer. Not that I've ever prayed with anyone, but that's what I've read. Wherever two or more are gathered, and so on. I've prayed alone many times, though, and really, I suppose I've never actually been alone, because I was here, and there are so many of you here, and all along, and you've all been praying as well, so a lot more than two are gathered here, not just in the chapel, I mean, but in the abbey, generally. Oh, and you're all probably spoken with me before, or maybe not all, maybe just some. I may have offered all of you spiritual advice through the hagioscope before. Not that I can tell who is on the other side of that, by the way. Your deepest questions have always been safe with me, so I'll never be able to tell anyone anything embarrassing. Not to imply that anyone has asked me anything embarrassing, and I hope my advice has helped all of you, or however many of you I had offered it to. And if you were ever wondering who was giving it to you, it was me. Here I am. I, for some reason that eludes me to this day, felt it might be best to end with a little flourish. Ta-da! I am your new chronicler. Silence.
Oh, sweetie.
Dreadful, dreadful silence. Finally, Darcy raised her hand. Yes? What's a hagioscope?
It's the funny little window next to her door. You're supposed to talk through it.
Oh, right. I bared my teeth as wide a smile as I could manage to the rest of the sisters. I got no response at all, save for another wave from Darcy with a smirk from Catherine. I looked up at the superior for some sort of guidance, any help at all. She just smiled at me and pushed my back gently, urging me to head back to the pews.
Hedwig's situation is rather unique. So we all have a responsibility to look out for her and offer her help with the day-to-day around the convent. I want everyone to be extra helpful and forgiving towards her. And I want no sort of hazing or pranking. By the by, Sister Flora, I will be speaking with you after Prime concludes today.
It was you. She's like a...
Whatever.
Yeah, she's like a teenager character. Flora was a young woman
That
with
works.
a pimply face then. Not wanting to cause a fuss, I walked past the last occupied pew to sit in an empty row in the back with the opposite sides of an aisle to everyone else.
We can refine that later.
Yeah.
Now, the creed, if you'd please. And then we will continue with the usual psalmody before concluding with a hymn. And yes, that means singing. And yes, that means all of you, including Catherine the First.
Catherine
Or Catherine I.
Catherine the First? There was an awkward pause before everyone lurched into the Anthasian Creed. Anthasian Creed, at the superior's urging. Go to the Cathalinfidum. I feel like I
Oh, come
would
on,
know
that's
this.
so easy to read.
Quoque
Qui cum que volt salvus esse ante omnia opus est, et ut teniat Catholicam fidem. I also don't know any Latin, but
I feel like I
quam
would
nisi
know it
quisque.
because I would know it
Yeah,
because we
it's
did
Latin's
Latin when I
easy
was
because you just. Yeah, I didn't do Latin. I did French, but you just pronounce what's there, like neque confudentes personas, neques substantium separantis.
Yeah, but also growing up, for like the first like 10 years of my life, there was always that you would always say things in Latin in church, for me at least. So I know like some of them.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
true.
but I don't remember it.
I go to Latin mass every once in a while, but unfortunately, it is too long most of the time.
Do you want me to skip this or?
Atolit portas principes vestra et elevamini. Porte eternales et introibit rex gloria.
I vomited black bile all over the flagstone floor.
Me too, sister. Me too. Alright, I'm taking a quick restroom break real quick.
All right.
Alright, I'm back. Hello.
Thoughts so far? Any
I
suspects?
like it so far.
Any suspects?
Clearly Catherine.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to be Catherine the first, so she killed the other Catherine.
I'm pretty sure she was already Catherine the
Uh,
first, I think. I don't remember.
Well, there goes that theory.
This is you? This is
Too
like
many
a...
voices, but
Yeah. Yeah, I warned you a bit.
you did. I was fully prepared for this.
This is
I-
you? This is kind of like a bubbly, friendly person. I don't know.
Alright. Hello! I have to make this different from first Catherine, who's actually second Catherine, but I'm gonna go for that kind of thing.
Well, you don't really have to.
Hello!
As far as I've read, Catherine II doesn't really come back. I haven't really seen a flashback with her yet, so that's kind of like the only time she's been in the game from what I've seen. So you don't need to differentiate too much.
It's about the artistic integrity.
All right,
I can't give two characters the same voice unless it's funny.
just trying to
Like Catherine at 1 and Catherine 2.
This is
this the same character?
Yeah, this is the same character.
Can you hear me? My name is Moira. This is an impolite manner of introduction. Say something if you can hear me.
I opened my eyes and groaned. I was lying on the floor between the pews, surrounded by a semicircle of concerned sisters. The woman who has been sitting near the front of the pews was crouched next to me. Her hand was resting on my shoulder to prop me up slightly. Sorry. Her grim expression melted away as I began to speak.
Don't dare apologize. You had us worried half to death there.
She spoke in a lilting accent that I couldn't quite place. The superior pushed through the throng of nuns at the moment, prompting the friendly woman to pop back up to her standing height with a little bounce.
She's gonna be just fine. I think she was a tad enervated. All of this might have been a bit much for her humors, I'm afraid. I see. I did warn her that jumping into things straight away might be too much.
I opened my mouth to object this out-and-out lie, but the superior gave me a piercing look. My silence assured, she turned to a friendly-faced woman.
Moira. I'd like you to take her to the dormitory to rest up for a little while in the room that's been prepared for her. If she's feeling up to it, she can rejoin us for an unforgettable luncheon later. Yes.
She leaned down and offered a hand to me, which I took. I staggered back to my feet, hiding my gaze from the crowd. What a disaster this has been so far. I took a deep breath and caught just a hint of foul stench of bile. My baffling speech, falling asleep during service, and throwing up in front of everyone. Even though these were people I was meant to suspect, I felt as though I'd been humiliated in front of my powerful royalty. Surely there'd be no climbing back from this. So...
Yes. Well, I suppose that means the Office of Crime is concluded.
There was an approving murmur from everyone.
Amen.
The murmur morphed into a half-hearted amen. They're so excited they don't have to sing.
Yeah. Was I Margaret? I don't remember.
No, I'm Margaret.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. I have like maybe 5-ish characters or so. And Margaret and Darcy are some of them. Also the gentleman from the beginning. And one more. but the rest are you. We can also adjust it now that you know the
Yeah.
game, and we can discuss casting a bit. But, yeah, if something feels too burdensome, I'm willing to take a voice or two here or there.
Yeah, it's fine. You have the main character and the narrator.
Yeah.
So,
As everyone began to shuffle outside, Moira kindly offered me her shoulder for balance.
You'd better join us for lunch. You barely weigh a thing.
It started to rain over the course of service. As we passed the threshold of the chapel's side doors back to the cloister, I could see Margaret and Catherine huddled together, talking somewhat conspiratorially. Margaret noticed me and raised her eyebrows, prompting Catherine to turn to face me.
You'll feel better soon, dear. It's been a pleasure so far.
And no hymns. Amen. Amen is right, hey?
Sister Margaret. Since we've let out a little early, surely you wouldn't mind cleaning up our newcomers' mess? I believe there's a mop and bucket in the workshop.
Yes, soup.
And, Catherine? I'm sure Margaret would appreciate some help. Yes, of course.
Moira tugged on my sleeve gently.
Come on then. Let's get you some rest.
We walked back through the cloister and through the doorway where I'd made a fool of myself in front of Catherine.
Everyone always says that the monastic life is so simple. But I can imagine it being quite a shock coming from what you're used to.
Yeah, I suppose so. She squeezed my arm gently.
Everyone also says first impressions are everything. But I have a good feeling you'll nail your second one, eh?
All I could do was groan.
I liked your little speech, though. It's not often we get newcomers. Adela was the last one before you. That was nearly a year ago, if I remember right.
Adela?
Oh, goodness. How silly of me. And we just established you haven't had a chance to meet everyone yet. Poor thing. Lots on my mind.
I was hoping to introduce myself to everyone properly after Prime, but
We'll get you rested up, so you can catch up with everyone later, eh?
I didn't have the energy to tell her that I had been about to say, now I'd rather crawl into a hole and disappear after, but I don't know whether it was because I'd fully grasped it the first go-round, or if my current state was so weak generally that Moira wouldn't have noticed, but I made it up to the stairs this direction without comment.
Here we are. This is where all of us sleep. Minus the superior, of course.
We?
Mhm. We made up a room for you already.
He swung open one of the wooden doors. A small, meticulously cleaned dorm room awaited. It had a similar straw mattress on one side, a little window, and an empty bookshelf next to a little reading desk. It was much smaller than the cell I had spent my life in. You could probably fit 2 people in here comfortably for a chat, 3 if one didn't mind sitting on the bed. Well, I suppose you're probably familiar with all that.
It's not much. Mostly we just sleep in these.
Tugging my arm again, she led me over to the mattress and urged me to sit.
You're on my palate still. A nap before lunch should do you some good.
What about terse or sext? Oh, and I slept through mountains last night.
Now, don't you dare worry yourself about something as silly as the hours. You're not used to moving and talking and, well, living so much. You need some rest.
But where?
Oh, for Pete's sake, don't be silly. I'm sure he would understand.
I didn't have the energy to argue, but I knew all too well that God does not look kindly to those who would take advantage of his kindness. Prayer is a privilege after all.
Do you have a fresh frock, by the way? I could go and get it from your cell if you'd like.
Oh, no, actually. Just the one. Someone would come and collect it and be washed every few days.
Never mind then. Give it to me, and I'll have it washed.
Give it.
I can turn around if you'd like. Nothing I haven't seen before, though.
She made a show of spinning around before I could argue, so I gingerly undid my habit, stepping out of it and collecting it together in a rumply little pile. I crawled into bed naked apart from my coif, which I let affix to keep my head warm. All yours, I suppose.
I'll have a bath drawn for you as well.
You really don't have to. You're not my chambermaid. She stroked my forehead before bending down to scoop up my clothes. I flinched at the sensation. While it was friendlier gesture than Catherine's thumb assault, it was no less alien.
Nonsense! It's what we're meant to do around here.
For each other and for any visitors in need of aid. Well, thank you. She was right, of course. In my delirium, I had forgotten the worldly purpose of monasticism. I had been shut in myself for so long, so focused on myself, I'd completely ignored what it was that Abby was here for in the first place.
Don't mention it.
Do you get many travelers here? People in need? I must admit that I didn't actually know quite where we were exactly. She sat down at the end of the bed.
Not many. We're quite isolated out here.
Here?
The closest village is quite a trek, I'm afraid. We get visitors occasionally, and supplies get sent to us fairly regularly. But we do have to be a little self-sufficient.
Where are we exactly?
The nearest village is called Lynbarrow. But we're on top of a hill quite a way away from there.
Lynbarrow?
Oh, have you heard of it? It is rather a bit of a hamlet, so I wouldn't be shocked if you hadn't.
I have to confess I don't know many English places at all besides, well, London. Lynbarrow, though. It sounds nice. It certainly rolls off the tongue.
It didn't always. I hear the folks whittled it down from Lindisbarrow. Accents are funny like that. Have you ever been to London?
Never. The superior came and brought me news about London a few times, that's all. Clerical things, church business I never really understood.
Huh, I see. How strange it must be to be you right now.
No need to tell me twice.
I'm sorry. I promise not to gawk any longer.
No, it's alright. I wasn't offended. You're right. It is very strange to live one way until one day you're suddenly forced to start living what feels like an absolute opposite way.
Yes.
Hmm?
I'm just very taken with the idea that the way I live is the opposite of the way you lived until today. It's very interesting.
It's my turn to apologize then.
Not at all. It's a perspective I never considered. I suppose, to the rest of the world, us nuns must seem very secluded and rigid. I've certainly felt that way sometimes. But you lived all by yourself in that little room all these years. With even stricter rules, I'd imagine.
Very strict.
Which is how I'd describe monastic life generally. But there was someone living very differently, right under my nose.
She paused for a moment. I noticed a tear rolling down her cheek. Moira?
Oh, it's just... This was her room.
Catherine? She nodded, sniffling.
It's been so hard. Might have seemed like everything was normal at Prime, but I promise you, things have been very, very difficult with her gone. Sometimes it feels like most of them are trying to act like she never existed. I suppose I can't blame them. I feel so wrong. She could have been there today. A day like any other. She would have really liked you, I think. Not that... Oh, you wouldn't even be here if not for... that. Would you?
I didn't know what to say.
It's me rambling. It's not your fault.
What was she like?
She was very intelligent, intimidatingly so. And she wasn't afraid to show that off to people.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just imagining. I can picture her, almost.
She left a strong impression on everyone she met. Myself included. She was good at everything she tried. I think that upset some people, honestly. She was a prodigy, through and through.
More than just being the chronicler?
Well, the nice thing about history is that it happens rather slowly. She had plenty of time for other pursuits, especially with how things are around here.
I don't see why that would upset anyone.
I wouldn't dare say for certain that she upset any of the others specifically. It's just a sense I've gotten in retrospect, perhaps.
I nodded. Precious as I held them, my conversations with Catherine through the hedoscope had a certain friction that I could imagine being amplified over years of talking to a person.
I just don't understand why they're so sure that poor boy did it.
She gave me a weak smile.
You might have been able to rest up in the hospitalium, if not for her. Hospitalum? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a wee bit nicer than the dorms, I have to say.
You don't think he killed her?
I don't know if I'd go that far. It's less of a suspicion and more of just... It's hard for me to reckon with purest random evil. Catherine was so good, wise, and kind. For a lad to just murder her on a lark, I can't accept that. He'd have to have a reason, surely. Otherwise... Otherwise the world is a much darker place than I believed. It's certainly a much dimmer place without Catherine.
We sat in silence for a moment. I didn't dare rebuke Moira, nor did I have the energy. But as well as empathy, frustration was bubbling inside of me. I could fix the misconceptions. Evil is everywhere. Demons are everywhere. The Lord saw the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that was every intention of the thoughts in his heart was only evil continually. Genesis, basic, elementary, the very foundation of our faith. A godless man could kill someone as wonderful as Catherine without a second thought. It became clear to me then and there. The lackadaisical and selfish attitude surrounding Prime, this disbelief in evil, something was very wrong here. Even Catherine's questions to me had bordered on blasphemous. These women were lost. Lost! Lost! My eyes snapped open. For a brief moment, I felt like I was spinning. It was like I had only just regained control of my head. My throat tightened and I had made the tiniest little retch, although thankfully, nothing came out.
Dear, oh dear. Are you sleepy? How rude of me to spring all of this on you now, after badgering you about needing to relax. This is a dorm, not a place of confession.
No. Rude of me to drift off like that. You have my deepest sympathies. Moira stood up, my clothes still bundled in her arms.
I'm going to go and make sure these get washed for you, so you can get some sleep. And I'll send someone to collect you to show where the baths are. There's some fresh nightcloths under the bed.
She made a few strides to the door, then turned around one more time.
And I'll ask Darcy for some mint. Good for an upset stomach.
And for breath, she gave me an impish little grin.
Well, you said it, not me.
I must have looked mortified because she immediately became apologetic again.
Oh, don't take that the wrong way. It's not your fault you've been sick.
It's alright. Thank you for everything. She closed the door gently, smiling warmly. I was left alone with my thoughts again. I must admit that I had been feeling pleasantly pampered for a moment before the mint comment. Oh, and a bath? Was I really so disgusting? Of course I was. I was a complete mess. Unclean, irritating, always saying the wrong things, disrupting Prime, expelling foul bile everywhere I went. What a mess. Finally, I got some real rest. I was simply too tired to rehash the embarrassment I had incurred over the course of the morning at the for a fifth or sixth time, and sleep finally took me. Hello? Hello? I'm awake. Just a minute. I stepped out of the bed and hastily made it back up as quickly as I could. Dropping to my knees, I looked underneath the wooden frame for the nightclothes Moira had mentioned. They weren't hard to find. It was spotless under the bed, save for a neatly folded gown. I retrieved it and slipped it over my head. It was a little big for me, but it did the trick. Are you decent? I'm coming. Sorry, I had to find a nightgown. I opened the door to greet her. She had a pleasant expression on her face and looked slightly more together than when I saw her in the chapel. She had droopy eyelids and a serene aura about her, except for the fact that she was dripping wet. Moira asked me to bring you some mint, so I brought you some. Are you feeling better? Yes, actually. Quite a bit better. Darcy had put a few leaves of mint into her mouth and was chewing somewhat rapidly. Don't worry, I brought plenty. I love the stuff. Grew it myself. Do you really? Yes. She fluttered her eyelashes and held out her hand, proudly showing off her large pouch full of leaves. I grow lots of things. Mint is definitely one of my favorites, though. Did you know it's really called mentha? No, I didn't know that. She offered me a bag up to me, and I reached inside to grab a few leaves. I placed them in my mouth tentatively, but was pleasantly surprised almost immediately. Oh, that is nice. That's right. You really grew this yourself? It's wonderful. Thank you for saying so, my friend. I just wish I hadn't gone and gotten yourself soaked in the process of getting it for me. You didn't have to do that on my behalf. Oh no, this isn't because of the mint. Is it not? No. Oh. Anyway, bath time. She spun around on her heel and began shuffling away towards the hall. Wait, is there no lock on this door? No. We all trust each other here. Just make sure to knock. You don't want to walk in on Moira epilating. I see. But that was embarrassing. The first time, anyway. Third time it started to be a little bit funny, I suppose. I suppose I didn't have any possessions that needed to be kept away from prying eyes or fingers. I was just used to locks. Darcy moved quicker than I would have expected. She would scarcely see her legs moving underneath her habit. She seemed to glide wherever she went, bobbing up and down ever so slightly. I followed, still feeling a touch indisposed. I didn't even know my way around the Abbey. To be walking around it in a breezy nightgown felt wrong, perhaps even disrespectful. I tried to make some conversation to distract myself. This is a very nice Abbey. It's a big and cold and probably haunted. What? Well, actually, that's not true. It gets a little hot in the summer when the sun hits the cloister, and you stand in the middle of the cloister. What do you mean by haunted? Probably haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. What makes you feel like the Covenant is probably haunted? Well, there are lots of weird noises at night, or when I'm alone, walking around, and probably move things around on their own sometimes. And things move around on their own sometimes. And also, I think most buildings just get a higher chance of being haunted the older they are. And these buildings are very old. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. I don't know the log button. I know there's a log in this game, but I don't know the button for it. Oh well.
I think she said it more to comfort herself than Darcy, truth be told.
I said this more to oh no, that's what it says just now. all I could think of was a strange figure I've seen with my windows night before. We took the stairs Catherine led me down earlier, and walked past the door of the cloister to a web of hallways I hadn't seen yet.
Do you know if there is a log button?
There is, but I don't know what it is. I've seen.
Try pushing escape. History.
Okay, there it is. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. There really is no such thing as ghosts. I said that more to comfort myself than her, truth be told. All I could think about was the strange figure I'd seen from my window the night before. We took the stairs Catherine had led me down earlier, then walked past the door to the cloister to a web of hallways I hadn't seen yet. That would be a shame. It would be nice to meet Catherine's ghost. Her placid expression didn't change, but I could sense a hint of sadness in her voice. Not wanting to press further, I quickly changed the subject. So, where are the baths? Not far from the kitchens, so we can make the water hot. How pleasant. It's nice. It's worth making trips for the well, in my opinion. From the well? Does the kitchen not have a faucet? Oh, it does, but we aren't using it at the moment. Really? Why not? Well, it isn't really working. Ah. As we stepped outside into the rain, I suddenly realized why she was soaked, though. Oh, I really hope you didn't trudge back and forth through the rain just for my bathwater. I did, but it's okay. I like the rain. I was currently struggling not to slip on the wet stone path in my wooden sandals, and I couldn't for the life of me understand what Darcy was talking about. Watch your step. At least promise me you'll go warm yourself up after this. Oh, I will. I've got to go help in the kitchen anyway, and it gets hot in there. She led me to a room with a large window and a wooden tub in the middle. It was certainly not originally a bathing room. The whole thing looked rather makeshift. There was a habit and frock folded in a neat little pile not far away. And here we are. Enjoy, my liege. I didn't know what to make of that. I turned around to see if she looked annoyed or upset, but she had the same pleasant expression as ever on her face. If there's anything else I can get you, just shout. I will probably hear it from the kitchen. Well, thank you. Bye. Darcy fluttered her eyelashes and broadened a grin before spinning around to scoot back outside, into the rain, closing the door behind her gently. Feeling miserable once more, I shrugged off the nightgown and removed my veil and strode over to the tub. The water was quite warm, and some pleasant-smelling leaves were floating in the surface. I took a good long look at myself reflected in the water. Horrible. I was pale and small, but without any movement of my torso, revealed ugly creases of flesh that made me wince. My nose was bent, I had spindly fingers, my eyes were dull and had bags underneath, my hair has been growing almost unhindered since taking my vows, save for an uneven line where I made sure to cut my bangs, to keep them from creeping out over the veil to making my forehead itchy. All in all, I was a sad little creature. Bathsheba, I was not. With a weary sigh, I stepped into the tub. The warmth was quite unlike anything I'd ever felt. As I lowered myself into the water completely, I could feel my muscles relaxing, a tingling sensation all over, as if the stress of the day was being washed away along with the dirt. Unfortunately, this relaxing effect didn't extend to my head. Ever since the superior had knocked on my door, I had felt as if all my thoughts had been squeezed through a narrow tube one at a time, and I had forgotten each word that made it out of my mouth by the time I was said. I was completely off balance. I even tried sinking my entire head beneath the water to see if that had some cleansing effect on my mind. No such luck. Raising my head above the waterline again, I tried to organize my thoughts as slowly as they came. I had made a complete fool of myself in front of Catherine and Margaret. Well, in front of everyone, actually. I had made Moira and Darcy waste their time attending to me like servants. No wonder Darcy had that crack about my liege. They were probably all fed up with me already, but one of them was a killer. What did I care about any of that? This place was a complete shambles. Sisters taking the Lord's name in vain, flagrant disrespect of the abbess, skipping matins, in fact, disregard for the liturgy and the hours at full. A total lack of familiarity with basic concepts from scripture, or the proper procedure for Benedictine monastic communities, and murder on the top of that list. To hell with all this. To hell with all of them. I dunked my head under the water again and exhaled as hard as I could, in a feeble attempt to expel the rage building inside me. It worked. Somewhat. A feeling of deep embarrassment replaced my anger. I leaned back and stared into the ceiling, ashamed. I tried to push every thought away, both guilt and anger, to try to enjoy the rest of my bath. It really was nice. I wouldn't mind it if someone brought the tub in here for me. I might never get out. Say, While I have you here, would you like to hear a different story? It's shorter than my own, don't worry. It won't be too much of a detour. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's one that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's a Bible story, of course. You, of course, know of Elijah and Elisha. Elijah ascended to heaven, and Elisha inherited his father's spirit, the sphere of God, with which he was able to perform miracles, and so on and so forth. He could part waters like Moses, and heal blighted lands and rivers. But there is a passage describing a journey to Bethel that amuses me. You know which I'm speaking of, yes? Forsooth Elisha went up from there, thence into Bethel, and when he went up by the way, little children went out of the city and scorned him, and said, Go up, thou bald one, go up, thou bald one. And when he had beheld, they saw him, the cursed in the name of the Lord. And 2 bears went out of the forest and rent 2 and 40 children of them. Soothly Elijah went from thence into the hill of Carmel, and from thence he turned again into Samaria. 42 children torn apart by angry bears at the behest of Elijah. That's rather extreme, isn't it? It's funny. When I was locked into the cell at first time around, I never thought much of this part of the story. But it really is awful to think about it, isn't it? Could you imagine being ripped to shreds by a wild beast just for calling a man bald? Oh, it mustn't be horrible, because God heard Elijah's curse and punished the rude little boys and girls justly. I've read that a lot of people in question if they really were children. Perhaps in the original Hebrew, the word was a little broader. In Latin, it certainly says children, and they're taught in the text as inerrant. Which brings me to the part of the story that interests me so. The text is inerrant, but the Bible, as we know it, is a translation. So surely there is room for some error. In fact, that version of the story I recited to you, that wasn't just me paraphrasing from the Vulgate for you. That was a passage translated by a man named John Wycliffe. No, of course I know you know who Wycliffe is. Who does not? Please, continue to humor me. I am attempting to record everything I find relevant to the story. Imagine, perish the thought, that you were some heathen listening to my tale. You'd appreciate the explanation, would you not? That is how I was trained to write chronicles. Do try to put up with me if I sound like the superior. Anyway, as written in Latin, the story is as follows. Ascendent adum indin Bethel, quoquam ascendent perveum, perve egressi, sunt and civete, and dilbade e descentes, ascende calve, quicum recipes vidum eos dormiti onus domini, nomini ergasse centura volusi, and saluto, et la fecasate. Many.
You do not have to read this if you don't want to.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it's fine. Many years ago, Wycliffe translated the Bible into English. The Archbishop at this time accused him of inserting nefarious messages into his translations. He thought Wycliffe was trying to rile the common people to rebel against the church. So surely they were Wycliffe's hearsay. They held a synod to argue for his expulsion from Oxford. They succeeded too. His Majesty Richard III banished him from the college, and it became actual written law that no man shall write against the church. You both know the rest, of course, but you won't bite my head off for walking through it, will you? The Wycliffes were denounced. Their heresy was thoroughly put to rest. This was nearly half a century ago, so God forgive me for saying this. Wycliffe had some interesting things to say about the translation that often rattle around in my head, but I've gotten very sidetracked here, haven't I? Oh dear. The point is, I find it interesting that Wycliffe's translation kept the children part from the Vulgate Bible. He too must have felt the original Latin text was inerrant, and yet he was punished for his translation work. God forbid, but if the church, as we know it, crumbles many years from now, someone attempts to teach using the Bible as a basis, will they keep that part, like we kept that part in the Vulgate? What does the story actually mean? It certainly seems a bit cruel. Maybe it means nothing. If it means nothing, is it necessary? If it is necessary, what does it mean? You must forgive me. I do sound a bit of a lollard at the moment, don't I? It is rather impossible problem. The 42 children have been mauled by bears at least 3 times now. Probably many more, as I doubt Wycliffe is the only man to have tried to write a Bible of his own language. And since I'm afraid I'm useless at Hebrew, I'll never know if they were meant to be at all. I suppose this is splitting hairs. If they were grown men and women being attacked by a furious mother bear commanded by God's messenger is still a rather unpleasant way to go. Still, claw to death for a playground taunt. What a strange world. So you had indeed already heard all of this before? Please forgive me for taking up more of your precious time. Like I said before, you'll permit me some small indulgence here and there. Even if I was not completely refreshed in spirit, the bath certainly did wonders for me physically. I could no longer count each individual bone in my body aching, at the very least. The noon bell rang. I stood up in the bath, scanning around for a towel of some sort. I spotted one, a simple piece of linen cloth, folded next to the habit Moira had washed for me. I stepped out of the bath while the bell was still ringing and dropped to my knees, resting my elbows against the edge of the tub, with my hands clasped together. I began reciting the Psalms for Sext. Canticum graduum.
Hello?
I wheeled around with a start, twisting into an uncomfortable position, attempting to cover my shame and turn my face to face my visitor at the same time.
Goodness, I'm so sorry. I was just coming to collect you for luncheon.
It's all right. I was just reciting the office.
Really? Which one?
Sext? The noon office? Do you not?
Oh, yes. Well, since we break for luncheon at midday, we roll that one into the prime.
This was deeply embarrassing for several reasons. I rose to my feet, strategically covering myself. Moira politely held a hand in front of her eyes. Did I interrupt it then? In the chapel?
I would never blame you for it in that sense. But I
began drying myself off with a towel, pressing it against my hair gently and hastily running it along my body. I must confess I'm a little behind on all the offices today. I slept through matins as well.
Matins? Oh, don't worry yourself about that. We roll matins into prime as well.
What? I flung the towel into the ground in shock. So dismayed I was. Moira, still holding her hand up in front of her face, let out a nervous giggle.
That's... It's fairly normal as far as I know. We have morning prayer and evening prayer. We spend all day following the hours to the letter. We never get anything done. We sleep at all. Are you really getting up in the middle of the night to pray?
Yes?
And dropping everything to recite psalms throughout your day?
Yes!
My goodness, that's so unfair. The superior never told you about how monasteries condense the hours? The bishop didn't either?
No. I find it hard to believe, to be perfectly honest. How often do you take communion?
Whenever the bishop is here. So, every few months or so?
This almost knocked me back on the floor.
That one does sound ridiculous. To my limited knowledge, I think as long as one person is doing Liturgy of the Hours every hour, it's fine. So, but not everyone would have to do that.
It could also just be a...
Yeah, this
supply
is thousands of years ago.
It could also
Yeah, that's
be
also true.
Yeah, a supply thing and not having a lot of bread to go around. So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, we've heard no indication of a priest or anything who could undergo the sacrament of communion, so...
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just nuns and bishops right now, in the story for where I'm at.
Well, bishops are higher than priests. They can do it, but it doesn't sound like he's here more than once every couple months, so...
Yeah, he comes once a season.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I understand the shock as well.
I was used to receiving communion once a season, but I had been under the impression that I was a unique case. My needs differed from the rest of the sisters. I had been in a permanent and all-encompassing relationship with God. These women did not seem to have that same devotion. I finally remembered that I was standing there like a fool and began to put my fresh clothes on. They smelled and felt lovely. Little dried leaves fell out of the sleeves and robe as I lifted them. I bent down to pick one of them up after I slid the cloak over my head.
Those are from our garden. Aren't they nice?
Extremely so. You really don't recite the hours as written? This isn't, I don't know, a prank?
Why would I pull a prank on you?
I have no idea. The superior just said that the idea in my head, I suppose, at morning prayer.
Oh, of course. Flora's the one to watch out for. She's full of, youthful vigor. Or Darcy. Or, well, Catherine. Or Margaret.
You looked sheepish.
Okay, I can see why you might be wary of practical jokes. But please believe me when I tell you that condensing the hours into morning and evening prayers is fairly standard around monasteries these days. In fact, I think it might have been for a long while now.
I suppose I'd have no way of knowing otherwise. And it's accepted?
I don't think anyone's ever gone to hell for rearranging their calendar, if that's what you're asking. Are you dressed now?
Just about. Moira lifted her hands from her eyes.
Look at that. Fresh as anything.
Thank you very much for washing them.
Oh, don't mention it. Hopefully you're feeling a bit better now. Once we get some lunch in you, you'll be as good as new, I reckon.
I'm looking forward to it. But, this might sound silly, but if I go to evening prayer tonight and do the rest of the hours, I still won't have caught up. Would you mind if I at least finish sext?
No, not at all.
Thank you very much. I've never actually prayed for an audience.
Would you like me to join you?
Yes. That'd be lovely, actually. Moira beamed and walked over to the tub I had been using. She kneeled as I had been kneeling earlier and joined her. The pleasant scent of the leaves in the bath still lingered above the water. Latin words.
Yeah.
We completed the liturgy and leapt in silence. I felt bolstered by the light of prayer, and the bath and fresh clothes had left me feeling warm and content. Moira strode in front of me, leading me to the rectory. When we arrived, I took a deep breath. Bathing in prayer rejuvenated my body and spirit, but I was still nervous about facing everyone. Both because of the harrowing events in the morning, but because of my mission. I hadn't forgotten. I just had no idea how to begin. The rectory was a long room with a high ceiling. A large age table already laden with plates ran through the length of the room. All the other sisters were there, and the superior was standing at the head of the table, appearing to hold court.
Ah, wonderful. Are you feeling any better?
Yes, very much so. Moira beamed and gently guided me to the foot of the table, where a stool was waiting. Oh, I couldn't.
Please, sit. Yeah, it's been so long since I've done any voice that wasn't Moira that I have to try to remember what I did for everyone now. So that everyone may be introduced to you properly this time.
That was the last thing I wanted, to be perfectly honest, but I obeyed. You smell nice. Thanks.
You have already met Sister Darcy, of course. She tends to the garden and livestock, and is something of an alchemist.
I prefer the title Alkavisionist.
Of course. Sitting next to her is Eustace. Charmed. Eustace is our sacristan and librarian. We actually have a great many rare books stored here that need to be taken care of. And read, most importantly. Not all of them have been cataloged. I am sure you and Eustace will get to know each other very well. She will be of great use to you as our new chronicler. This is Sister Flora. She's our youngest oblate. She's 17. I'm 19? Are you really? My goodness, time flies. I wish. I've been stuck here for 5 years now. Now, really? Stuck? Yeah. Stuck. Well, she has not yet found her calling, but the, youthful spirit of rebellion gives Flora the energy to help out with various tasks around the Abbey. You have met Moira already, of course. Yes, indeed. Moira is our infirmary, but also serves as our chamberlain, and our hosteler on the rare occasion we have visitors. I'm the closest thing to a doctor here, without, well, being a doctor, you know? Without having a man here, you mean? And thank goodness for that, aye?
A polite laugh went around the table.
On your right, Hedwig, is Sister Marta. Marta has actually had many roles here, even before I was the prioress. She was the chronicler before our blast, and has also been our cantor.
You can just say that I'm old. It's no secret.
I wouldn't dream of it. You have much wisdom and many surprises left in you, Sister Marta.
What do you do nowadays? I try to enjoy what's left of my life, dear.
You run the cellars, you mean?
I said what I said. This is you. I was thinking of like the
And
shopkeeper
a damn
voice or
fine
something.
job of running the cellars you do. What'd you say?
Nothing.
No, I want to hear what you said, but I can stick to that voice anyway.
I was thinking of the shopkeeper. That's yeah.
That's more, I'm old, and she looks
Yeah.
a bit younger.
Yeah, she does.
And a damn fine job of running the cellar you do, I'll say. This is Sister Charity, who is, rather fittingly, our head almoner. Although, there's not much of that to be done round here, I'm afraid. So I mostly strive to do the same as Marta here.
You help in the cellars?
I enjoy life, darling. Next is Sister Margaret.
We've met already.
Margaret is another almoner, and also helps in the cellars.
I'm a precentor as well. I helped Catherine with a lot of her writing.
Margaret is very talented. She was also our first foreign oblate.
Thank you very much for explaining that on my behalf, Soup. Anyway, that's not completely true. This is you.
Oh my goodness. They just keep coming and coming.
They do.
What is this, a nunnery? And a monastery? They're coming out of the woodwork. Let's see. What can I do?
I think this is the last character.
Yeah, I'll see what I can scrounge up.
It is not completely true, in fact.
This is the character I was thinking of the Suki voice for, but I don't know.
I can do something similar to that.
Ah, Sister Adela. I thought you were born in Spain. I was indeed born in Spain, which is another country.
I was born in Spain as well.
What I meant was...
This should be good. Do you actually know where I was born, Soup?
Please don't call me that. And of course I do. You're our first oblate from outside the usual here. The typical sphere of a people who devote themselves to monastic life.
Whole world's a sphere, your reverence. That's so true, Darcy. I'm just a nun doing my little part to spread the faith around the whole globe, which is the entire purpose of being one, or so I'm told.
I'm Irish.
That's wonderful, Moira.
I kind of gathered that from her.
That's wonderful, Moira.
I apologize. I did not mean to offend. I simply meant...
No offense taken, Soup. I'm sure Hedwig knew what you meant.
Well, well, well. Tough act to follow. You have, of course, met Catherine. Her name is spelled with a K, but when speaking we referred to her as Catherine the First. Our old chronicler was called Catherine the Second. We had a little contest for it, And Catherine II was very gracious in defeat. Crying shame what happened to her. Catherine is our... Think of it, Catherine, what is your title? I dabble. This is Sister Adela. She was actually our newest oblate. Before you decided to join the congregation. That's right. It feels good to move up a rank. Adela has also not really settled into a role yet. Like Flora, she helps out wherever she can. And finally, we have met already.
I gulped.
I am the Prioress. My second in command.
Angela was the one that I was trying to figure out who should voice for, because I genuinely don't really know which one of us should voice her, so I just kind of gave her to you. But she was.
I know
the
that
one...
you were struggling to figure out who should voice Darcy.
No, Darcy was easy. Darcy was easy because she and Eustace are best friends, and Eustace has a prominent role, and I really wanted you to voice Eustace. So I just kind of made Darcy. So I just kind of took Darcy so that Eustace and Darcy scenes didn't feel so one-sided for you and tough on your throat. Angela was the main one that I didn't know how to do.
Yeah, because I remember you saying, at least at some point, that there was a gremlin voice you wanted to do, which I've pretty much surmised was Darcy, but you weren't sure who wanted that yet, or who was gonna get it.
I was mentioning a Squidward-ish voice, and that's who Angela was.
I see.
Yeah,
that must be who I'm thinking of.
Squidward/Peridot-ish voice, and I was like, that's kind of what I think Angela would be, but I still don't really know. So if you get tired of voicing all these characters, I'm willing to take her at least.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm from Wales. That's the one I was talking about.
Jonah?
That's the one I was talking about before stream, because I was like, should I invent an entire country by trying to do a Welsh accent? Because I know Xenoblade 2 with Nia.
Interesting.
And I was watching some clips to try to mimic it, but I just couldn't nail it.
Thank you, Darcy. Well, now that we're all caught up...
Everyone's head bounds instantaneously. I hastily lowered my head as well and joined the hushed whispers.
Let us eat.
On my plate were 2 thick slices of bread, far thicker than I've ever been given in my cell. There was some kind of boiled meat and a crumbly hunk of white cheese. I glanced around. Everyone was already digging in with their fingers. I followed suit, starting with the bread. I was light, fluffy, with a crisp crust. A finger appeared above my plate suddenly. Duck. What? The meat. It's duck. With herbs. From your garden. That's right. I pinched off a piece and marveled how juicy it was. I put it in my mouth and was overwhelmed. Wow.
I helped.
Oh, I like this scene. Yeah, you killed the duck.
Well, yes. Because you cry if you have to do it.
That's right. I raise them and name them and love them.
You really shouldn't do that for starters.
Name them?
Yes. Or love them.
I'm good at names is the thing.
That's true.
And once I've named something, it's impossible not to love it.
What was this duck's name? I'd offer my compliments. If they were still alive, anyway.
No clue. She doesn't
let me tell her which ones are being slaughtered.
That's
Is
Flora.
that someone in particular?
That's Flora.
Alright. Hang on. But you still... Yeah, she figures it out eventually when she checks in on the animals.
Look, it makes sense. How does it make sense, Darcy? I'm going to be a little sad about it no matter what, but I can't stop it from happening. But I can put it off so I'm not sad about it at lunch, which is a horrible time to be sad.
True.
Does knowing you're gonna be sad later not make you sad now?
No. Why? Because the duck tastes good. Nobody seemed to be able to argue with this logic. That's our Darce. That's our Darce.
This is the worst scene of all time because now I'm hungry. And I can't eat 2 hours before bed because of the medicine I have to take. So now I'm sad.
Everyone continued
And-
eating in silence for a moment.
And lunch is not a good time to be sad.
Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between animals?
Knowledge. I shuddered involuntarily all of a sudden as I felt a hand beneath the table tapping my knee. I looked over right at Marta, who smirked. She tapped my knee again, and the others continued their conversation.
Is it difficult killing the ducks? Not really. They're not much of a match for me, if I'm being honest.
I suppose you have a knife in that situation.
I assure you, I could easily defeat a duck, even without a knife. What about two ducks? What about two ducks? Absolutely. 3. Again, definitely. I think you are really overestimating how much damage a duck could do to me. I am an adult woman.
The tapping on my knee continued. She, still smirking, tilted her head down, indicating I should look lower. I did, and saw that she was holding a handful of... something. Understanding, finally, I held up my hand. She nodded and returned to her meal.
Ducks can be really mean. Have you ever seen an angry duck? Yes! They don't love being killed, funnily enough. What, like, they can see you coming? They know they're about to die? I don't have to ambush them if that's what you're wondering. They usually figure it out by the time I pick them up by the neck and put them on the chopping block, though. How would one sneakily attack a duck? Very easily, probably. They are ducks. But you don't attack them that way. Correct? Why not? Again, I feel like all of you are severely overestimating the power of a single duck and underestimating me. A fully grown woman. How many ducks would it take before you think you'd lose? I could defeat every duck? It's simply not a problem for me. Every duck? In the world? Come on. I could defeat infinite ducks. They are small and have little necks. I could kill a duck by accident. It simply doesn't require any measurable amount of my strength. You would get tired eventually. I would not. You're talking as if they're ants. I think it requires a little more energy to kill a duck than an insect.
Especially if there were a lot of them at once.
I would swing my arms. I would kick out my legs. A group of ducks would crumple immediately in a fight against me.
Okay, now I'm thinking about you killing lots of ducks, and it's making me really sad because I'm imagining you killing all the ducks I'm looking after with huge kicks and punches, and I love those ducks, and I hate this conversation now.
I'm sorry, Darcy. I didn't mean to upset you. We're speaking hypothetically here. I'm not gonna kill all of your ducks.
It's okay.
Now.
Thank you, Eustace.
She's not gonna kill them all at once anyway. Just the ones we need for food. She's trying to get out of it. She thought we wouldn't notice. Hedwig.
Ma'am? She stood up, holding her empty plate.
I would like to see you in my office when you're finished eating.
I didn't know what they were. I just stuck my hand out.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing. Silence. They're just dried apples, dear. Oh.
What? Come on, Marta. Give me some too.
Absolutely not. You've been a little cunt lately.
Roan.
Another snipe.
Ranyan. That's enough!
The superior looked irritated. Flora and Marta looked as if they were having a grand old time.
Hedwig? I'd just like to speak with you privately about your new duties as chronicler, now that you're feeling better.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. One of the others will show you where my office is when you're ready.
She strode out of the room magnanimously.
Take your time. I need someone to refer to me with that adjective eventually. Enjoy the rest of your luncheon.
I started nibbling on some cheese. Everyone was watching me. I'm happy to share the apples if you'd all like. There was a dull roar of agreement from everyone in the room, all except Angela, who had been pretending to ignore everyone for the entire meal. I broke up the handful of dried fruits into 2 piles and passed them to either side of me, keeping 1 piece for myself. Thank you kindly.
Oh, now that
I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian, as I've mentioned before.
So, now that the Ildermam is gone, do tell us about yourself.
I realized that even now, after I had no more candied fruits to give, everyone in the room was staring at me with intense interest. Oh, I don't really know what I could say that I didn't say this morning. What did you say this morning?
I must admit, wiping up your sick has overridden any memory of what you'd said prior.
So sorry. Catherine shrugged, smirking. Margaret waved a hand. It gave us a chance to...
A chance to reflect on the nature of servitude to God. And so on.
I could see Angela raising one of her eyebrows out of the corner of my eye.
Anyway, Hedwig is adapting wonderfully. She had some trouble with the stairs, but got the hang of them quickly. I imagine you'd probably have some trouble with stairs if you'd been locked in a little room for that long. Yes, whereas we're all locked up in a big room, aren't we? With each other, for company.
Locked is a strong word, Catherine.
You're right, as usual. We aren't locked in. The hill is more of a moat.
Honestly, you sound just like Flora sometimes.
Or a hill. I'm not really sure what the metaphor is. I'm not really sure the metaphor is necessary. Metaphor! I love that game. That's a big word. As expected, however, from our resident librarian, cum butcher. On the subject of ducks, I was merely speaking in hypotheticals.
Ooh, that's another good word.
What does hypothetical mean, Eustace? I regret saying anything. I'm being earnest.
It means mind control.
You're thinking of hypnosis. 3 for 3.
A loud jeer went up around the table.
Darcy, let me out, please.
Eustace scooted her chair back with a loud squeak and stormed out of the room. Oh, come on, Eustace.
Eustace, please come back. Whatever.
Perhaps this is rich of me to say, but I think you lot don't know when to lay off sometimes.
I do not understand in that case. 1 minute she is talking about fighting ducks, but now she is upset we are joking about fancy words? Bad timing, I think.
She's doing her best, but she's quite torn up.
We all are. It's horrible.
If you don't know, I know.
As I said, she was joking about killing ducks. I would have thought that would have been worse than joking about words.
You're young. It's never the obvious things that remind some folks of grief past.
Eustace is the librarian, and Catherine was the chronicler, of course. See, she said of course. I definitely picked the right accent for this. I did it. Peas in a pod they were. Not just them.
We all miss her very much.
It isn't a competition.
Laura looked as if she was about to mouth off in response, but at that moment, Eustace re-entered the room carrying a large wooden bowl.
What the hell happened in here? We were wondering where you'd gone off to. We were worried you were upset.
Eustace said nothing as she walked to the table with a bowl, smiling gently. That's playing dirty, Eustace.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I forgot I made this to celebrate our newcomer after all. I believe you.
Gaylaid? After you've all had candied apple? Goodness.
Such gluttony.
What's Gaylaid? Puddin'. Eustace ladled out the sweet-smelling treat into everyone's plates. When it was Angela's turn to be offered some, she pushed her chair back and stood up, jolting the entire table forward and causing everyone's plates to wobble. Darcy and Moira had to hold onto dishes to keep themselves from spilling over the robes.
Is everything all right, Angela? No.
With a glare that seemed to lock with every pair of eyes in the room, Angela stalked out of the rectory hall.
I doubt she'll be coming back with pudding.
How long do you think you can keep going?
How long is the meeting with Superior?
I honestly don't remember. I've watched through this game once, and it was a couple months ago.
That is fair. I'm fine to end here. I'm also fine to end after that meeting. It's up to you. Whatever you think a better stopping place would be.
Let's do the meeting then. I was in considerably higher spirits after eating. I excused myself after finishing the gay lead. I got a little self-conscious about how long I was taking to meet the superior. Even though there had been a few awkward moments, I didn't really want a conversation to end. Still, feeling like I could be responsible and punctual, I excused myself partway through and continued discussion about what animals Eustace could be best in hand in combat. Darcy helpfully volunteered to show me to the office. It was on the first floor. Further down the hallway, she'd taken me down on the way to the kitchen and the bath. Here you go. Thank you. And thank you again for the mint as well. And for showing me around before. Oh, and I helped cook lunch. Oh, well, thank you for all that as well. I didn't make all of it, but enough that it's sad to not hear a thank you from the others and nice to hear it from you. Well, in I go. In you go.
Enter.
I opened the door and slipped inside. Darcy watched me with a big grin still plastered onto her face. The superior's office was small, but meticulously kept. It was rather plush compared to the rest of the rooms I'd seen so far. A grand window looked out to the garden, and there was a door off in the left that presumed to lead to a private bedchamber. The superior herself sat in a thick oaken desk that had a rather ornate chair.
How are you feeling?
Much better, thank you.
Good. Good. Wow, I called it. I was the head of when the dialogue showed up for me. How has your morning fared? Setting aside your little fainting spell.
I rummaged around a recent memory for a reassuring anecdote. Oh, it has been an interesting experience. I managed to run straight into Sister Angela on the way to the chapel, and Sister Catherine introduced me to Sister Margaret.
Those two. Try not to let them rope you into any schemes.
No, of course.
They are both incredibly adept at sneaking around. Both of them have managed to scare me witless with their creeping.
I'm relieved that I'm not alone then.
Indeed. Do you have any leads yet?
Leads?
Any idea who could have killed Catherine yet? Any hint at all? Anything to follow up on?
No.
That is a pity.
Mother Superior, I have been out of my cell for all of 6 hours, if that. For much of this time, I was ill, and then asleep, and then alone in the bathtub. What clues could you possibly expect me to have already? Did you really think someone would slip up and tell me over luncheon?
No. I suppose I shouldn't have counted on anything quite so miraculous happening.
She turned around and stepped towards a large window. Some thorny bushes were growing underneath and had a few trees dotted the path between the building and the garden. Light and shadow danced across her habit as she paced back and forth slowly. I don't even know how Catherine died. I've heard some mournful whispers from the sisters I've met, but I haven't had clues as to what actually happened. When did she pass? How? Where was her body?
Sister Catherine was found in the cloister on the first morning of November. She was laying on her back, with a sword plunged into the earth just above her. Also, this is the last evening of November, so that's poetic in a way. Her head had been cut off and arranged in her hands. It was
foolish.
The last evening in November for the next 7 minutes.
Yeah, that counts.
Oh, that's what was in the grass. I thought it was a crucifix.
Yes. No one, least of all me, could bear to remove it. It's become something of a monument to Catherine, I suppose.
Rather grim. A bloodied sword feels like an awful way to remember someone.
You'll get no argument from me, but these women are strange sometimes. That would be true, regardless of my suspicions. That said, the blade is actually clean. It was clean even when we found it.
It was?
Yes. Angela found the stable boy hiding in the yard without a speck of blood on him. But Sister Darcy discovered his cloak elsewhere. It was quite tarnished, and Angela surmised that he'd used it to wipe down the blade before attempting to flee. A sound theory at the time. I have my doubts now, though.
Who found the body?
Sister Charity, on one of her morning walks. The round woman you met at lunch.
Don't call someone round.
I don't mean it as an insult.
Go up, thou bald one. What happened to Catherine's body?
If you're hoping to play surgeon and examine her for clues, I'm afraid she's already been interred.
I understand. This was actually a small relief. As determined as I was to find Catherine's killer and help bring him to justice, a dead body was the last thing I wanted to see. Where was she buried?
The cemetery is a short hike from here, on the hill. I can have one of the sisters show you there, should you feel the need to visit. Say a few words. Not that you could have known her, I suppose.
What a great idea. What if the murderer, since you don't believe it, and the suspicious boy with blood... What if the murderer, since you don't believe it, was a suspicious boy with blood on his shirt, decides to off me as well? Perhaps while taking me to the pleasant hike, alone, up in the cemetery. I must say, it feels rather difficult involving myself with the others when you've directed me to spy on them.
You make it sound so ugly. We are seeking justice.
I had no choice in the matter. I'm sticking my neck out based off your intuition.
Let's not fight about it. What's done is done. You are no longer an anchoress. You are free to do whatever you wish once the killer is captured.
I was perfectly happy where I was.
Don't be ridiculous. You might as well have been a prisoner.
If that were so, I'd have been your prisoner.
I really, truly do not want to fight about this.
Yes, so you keep saying every time I question something.
Stop giving me this insolence! My God! Where is the awkward little titmouse who introduced herself to service this morning?
She's standing right in front of you, rather upset about the situation she's been thrust into.
You are not but a bratty child. A woman, a member of our family, had her bloody head cut off. And all you can think about is your own comfort.
These people are not my family. You least of all.
I am your superior. I am your abbess. You are my charge, and you will do as I say. I have been accommodating and kind as I possibly can in asking for your assistance, but make no mistake. I do not need to ask, nor will I in future if I require something of you. Vade ad formicam.
I am neither ant nor sluggard, Abbess. I will respect your wishes as my superior, but I am not a soldier awaiting commands.
I...
Are you surprised? I must admit, I surprised myself at this moment as well. Maybe my humors were a bit off kilter. Maybe I was tired of feeling meek and embarrassed all morning. Perhaps I, free from myself for the first time in many years, was trying out new behaviors to see how they fit me the way one tries on a new cloak in the market. Or maybe, just maybe, it was something else. Do you think Darcy could have been right when she said this place was haunted?
I am sorry. Once again, I am being unfair. Please try to understand. I have so much love for this place. These holes are my responsibility. And if it all falls apart, I don't know what I'd do.
If you truly believe the Sable Boy did not do it,
I could so easily throw him to the wolves. Don't you see? I do not mean to throw you to them in his place. I mean to take the more difficult path here. I would rather stake my reputation on seeking the truth than condemn an innocent boy for my own gain. It would not be right.
I understand. I could feel myself becoming smaller, meeker again, deflating like an empty water skin. If you want me to start truly investigating things, I need somewhere to start. I can't just hope to stumble upon the answer. May I speak with the accused, the Sable Boy in the hospitalum?
An obvious but nonetheless excellent idea. I felt so trapped by my position leading the convent, despite this investigation ultimately being my responsibility. I didn't dare think of involving myself so directly, but you could speak with him. I will take you to the hospitalum. In secret, of course. I'll arrange a time and send for you under the pretense of more chronicler business. I would still pose my first question to you again, however. Think hard. Has anything stuck out as particularly unusual to you?
Everything is unusual to me. I was fighting back tears now. Meek. Everything. Did Catherine tell you I barely made it down the stairs this morning? In my mind, I knew what stairs were, but I can't remember if I'd ever actually walked up or down any before today.
It will take some time to adjust.
I'm not sure if I will ever fully adjust.
Have faith.
If I could offer one small observation at least, if there's anything I could find strange, it's how calm everyone seems.
So, you felt it too. I'm glad it was not just my own superstition.
Everyone seems happy. Especially at luncheon, they were joking and laughing. I suppose I'd have no way of truly knowing, but the congregation certainly isn't behaving the way I'd expect them to know, knowing one of them just died.
It is odd, isn't it?
Yes. I suppose your instincts weren't wrong in asking for my help. I changed the subject quickly. I did not want this barrier to think I was happy with her choice in my situation. God forbid. Oh, a question. Is it true that the hours are compressed here? A morning service and an evening office that encompasses every office?
Yes. That is fairly standard in most monastic communities nowadays.
Why didn't you tell me that? My cell wasn't far away. You knew how to use the stairs.
The bishop forbade it.
Why?
Because an anchoret's entire purpose is to do the things normal people cannot.
She was right. I tensed and untensed my hands a few times, unsure what to do with myself. I was to bear burdens no one else was expected to, all alone in there.
You thought otherwise?
I don't know. I suppose I never really considered it. I just read scriptures and theology all the time. I had an idea in my mind of what an abbey was supposed to look like, and I thought even if my role was different, everyone else's would at least be similar.
Things are very different when you have responsibilities. Things are the day-to-day tasks of earthly life, as much as the monastery reduces them to their basics, are still quite time-consuming. Animals must be tended to and punched. Food must be grown and prepared. The work arises and must be done. Besides, you had your own work to do. You had books to copy, scripture to commit to memory, prayers for the townspeople to amplify.
What?
You were given written prayers to say for people. That was one of your core duties.
I was given no such thing.
Huh? That was a very poor time for jokes.
I am being completely serious. I have no idea what you're talking about. I copied books, I prayed the hours, I was never given anything else to pray for, save the occasional visitor of the Hagiscope's prayers. She gave me a piercing, icy glare. Then, as if a set of strings holding her upright had been cut, she collapsed into her chair. I don't understand.
We are very far away from the nearest village or town here. Nonetheless, we are here, and we serve the people of Lynbarrow and their needs. Offer them help with their prayers.
Of course, I would have happily done so if I received any.
Because we're up on this hill, we're sent supplies from the village. Things we can't grow ourselves, essentials, the occasional holiday luxuries, and so on.
He reached down to the drawer under her desk, pulling out 2 small cups and a carafe. She uncorked the container and poured some dark liquid into both cups.
Wine. Drink up.
She slid one of the cups towards me with her own. I took it gingerly. I had, of course, had wine before, but this smelled different.
This is nicer than anything you've had brought to you, I'd wager. One of the aforementioned occasional luxuries. Drink it. Please.
I braved a sip. She was right. It was different. For one thing, it was quite strong. The superior took a big swig of hers and continued.
When you were brought here and made to take the vows, one of the first things that crossed my mind was how inconvenient it would be to expect the people of the village to trek up here every time they needed spiritual aid. Why, it'd be positively cruel to make children walk all the way to the anchoress themselves. Old men with walking sticks? You get the picture. And since we're all the way up on this hill, on this lonely hill, I thought, why, I know what would make things easier. I offered the townsfolk a simple idea. They're an educated sort down there, you see. Not like us. Or, well...
She waved her cup towards the door.
More like them. So I told the people to write their prayers down. Give them to the young man who brings our supplies. We'll sort through them and pass them on to the anchoress here.
And they did.
I saw the envelopes, yes. Many times.
I don't understand. The abbess took a final pull from her cup and slammed it back into her desk.
Giving those letters to you was Catherine's responsibility. And that's Catherine with a C, for the record. Yeah, see, that's a much better ending place. Quick save. Wowzers. And hard save. Alright, good stuff.
Don't go to the main menu. I'll have PTSD. You just gotta quit directly.
Aye. But the stream is game capture, so it will kind of just be an empty screen if I
Fine, you can main menu. I can brave my trauma from the beginning of stream when I was getting jump scared every 5-ish seconds. Ah!
All right, that's the first stream of Misericorde, however you say it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
It's good.
I love it so much.
Yeah, I gotta keep all these voices straight.
The people I was watching were making a joke that Darcy had Heelys on because she was just gliding everywhere, and it was making me laugh.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know.
Initial thoughts. Eustace is clearly the killer because she's the one who kills all the ducks and
Yep.
she uses knives.
That's one of my favorite scenes. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's good. Someone has to take care of the animals, including punching the ducks.
Man. It's such a good
Alright.
game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be free tomorrow or Tuesday,
Okay.
just because I do have finals Tuesday and Wednesday.
Alright.
I will see what I can.
Don't stress yourself too much. We can figure it out.
You don't have to worry about that. I will be
Alright.
plenty stressed regardless.
Alright.
But yeah, looking forward to more of this. How far do you think we are through Volume 1? Maybe a quarter?
Maybe a fifth?
I mean, the more content we get, the better.
Yeah.
It's a good game so far.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright.
See you guys later.